through the military cooperation strategy between the country and the country. Even if there were private enterprises involved, they were still cautious and cautious. They were not as arrogant as those foreign merchants who went to invest in other places. Therefore, the military had never been interested in those foreign merchants. Xiao Hao did well this time. Through this matter, we should let the government reflect on their attitude towards foreign businessmen. Song Chauhan said, after so many years of reforms, China's economy has started to take off. We can't just use all kinds of benefits to attract investments like before. Zhao Dingzhou nodded. Brother Song, you're right. The old man said so. The State Department had also noticed this matter. The Ministry of Economics and the Development and Reform Committee were discussing this matter. They might launch some new policies in the future. Song Chauhan looked at the television screen again and said with a smile, as for that Zhou Zi, he should not be able to escape this time. I think that Zhou Qiao probably still doesn't know that this matter was caused by Xiao Hao. Zhao Dingzhou smiled noncommittally. Song Chauhan said, Elder Zhao, we agreed that if there's a chance, you must bring this little guy to me. There aren't many young people with such abilities nowadays. It's rare that Brother Song thinks so highly of him. It's his honor. Zhao Dingzhou raised the Maotai in his hand, and the few of them drank happily again. Just like what Zhao Dingzhou and the others had said, Zhou Zi could not escape this time. After this incident that had spread far and wide, the deputy governor who had been supporting Yin Xintong had a 180-degree change in attitude. He quickly called Situ Li. He asked him to handle this matter impartially, give an explanation to the public, and return the Xiang city a bright and clear world. He spoke righteously, making Situ Li suspect that it was another person who had asked him to settle this matter in a low-profile manner. This matter caused a large number of people in the country to request the government to reflect on their attitude towards foreign businesses. As the main character of this matter, Zhou Qiao was also the first to be affected, especially when he tried to use his power in Hong Kong to pressure Hong Kong and Macau through the special regional government to get rid of the passive situation. However, he found that the Asian TV station in Hong Kong had also made a special report on this matter. This was because Asia Television Limited and Galaxy Television were both subsidiaries of the Polar Media Group. Hence, he had also obtained detailed information about this matter and was far ahead of the Wireless Television Limited and other television stations. After the extensive coverage in Hong Kong, the people in Hong Kong also hated Zhou Zi's actions. They thought that he had lost the face of Hong Kong and affected the harmonious relationship between Hong Kong and China. This caused the position of the Zhou family in Hong Kong to decline rapidly. Even the special regional government, which had been very friendly to the Zhou family in the past, was now avoiding Zhou Qiao. After this incident, Zhou Qiao's investment plan in the country could only die in his womb, because now, no government would dare to accept his investment. Yin Xintong was also removed from the position of deputy secretary because of this matter. She was transferred to the city council to be the deputy director. Her career was completely ruined. As for Zhou Zi, although the Public Security Bureau had already confirmed that he was instigated by the woman from the technical school to commit the crime, and had also compensated the family of the deceased with more than 2 million renminbi, he was still sentenced to 8 years of imprisonment. Moreover, he had to serve in the prison in Xiang City. Even though Zhou Qiao had asked the Xiang City court many times to transfer Zhou Zi to Hong Kong to serve his sentence, he knew that the situation in the prison in China was very different from Hong Kong. However, because Zhou Zi committed crimes in Xiang City, according to the laws in the country and the relevant laws in Hong Kong, Zhou Zi was under the jurisdiction of the Xiang City's judicial system. Therefore, the Xiang City court rejected Zhou Qiao's request. When the court announced the verdict, Zhou Zi, who had his hair shaved into a buzz cut, grabbed Zhou Qiao's hand tightly and cried, "Grandfather, save me. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. Grandfather, save me." Zhou Qiao's face was also covered in tears, but there was nothing he could do. He had never thought that such a disaster would befall him when he returned to his hometown to invest. Furthermore, up until now, he had no idea that he had never put Zhou Hao in his eyes. He was the biggest mastermind behind this incident. As Zhou Hao had expected, Zhou Qiao returned to Hong Kong very quickly because he wanted to set up a law division to appeal to Zhou Zi. He was his only grandson, and he could not let Zhou Zi stay in jail for 8 years. However, Zhou Hao also knew that what Zhou Qiao did was futile. In the past, with Zhou Qiao's financial ability, even if Zhou Zi was sentenced, he could still buy people from the political and legal system to get Zhou Zi out of jail. But now, Zhou Qiao and Zhou Zi were both influential figures in the country. Even without Situ Li, the mayor in charge of the political and legal system, no one would dare to show favoritism and let Zhou Zi go. Therefore, Zhou Zi could only stay in the prison for 8 years. Xiao Hao, you really are something. Didn't you hear what the deputy governor said to me on the phone? He praised me to the sky. My attitude is completely different from before. Situ Li smiled at Zhou Hao and said that Yin Xintong was also taken away. It's really satisfying. Zhou Hao smiled and said, that's nothing. Actually, I am just getting rid of evil for the people. The getting rid of evil caused a lot of trouble this time. This fire will burn for a long time. Situ Li smiled. Many foreign businessmen had used their power to commit crimes all over the country. It had caused a series of chain reactions. However, Zhou Hao also said, I did set the fire, but the task of extinguishing the fire has nothing to do with me. But burning it is also good. Killing insects and eliminating germs is beneficial and harmless. Situ Li smiled and said, you are clearly not going to care about killing or burying it. Attention all passengers. This flight will arrive at Hong Kong Reborn International Airport in 10 minutes. The clear voice of the young lady in the air could be heard from the broadcast. Zhou Hao, who was sitting in his seat, slightly curled his lips. In May, several international speculators with the HPF as their main force launched several sniping attacks on Hong Kong's financial market, once again taking away a large amount of money. The government of Hong Kong could only deal with it by using their interest rates, causing Hong Kong's financial market to become like what the Western media had said, becoming an ATM for those international speculators. The Galaxy, who did not interfere in this matter, was watching coldly from the sidelines. However, after Song Jiahao and Willie Worth's analysis and research, they both came to the same conclusion. Zhou Hao had predicted that the battle of the century, which used Hong Kong's financial market as the battlefield, would soon arrive. Those speculators who continuously attacked Hong Kong's stock market like a guerrilla were the ones who acted as the vanguard and probed Hong Kong. In the plan, Zhou Hao gave Song Jiahao and the others, George Soros and Julian were mentioned in the plan. Robeson's financial crocodiles would form an unprecedented financial army, like a pack of wolves, biting the fat piece of Hong Kong. Previously in Southeast Asia, Song Jiahao and the others had followed George Soros and the others to take advantage of the situation to kill Indonesia. However, it was also because of this that Song Jiahao and the others had a clearer understanding of George Soros' strength, which was enough to become a legend. In the past, they had followed them to fish in troubled waters, but now, they wanted to become enemies with this group of greedy jackals. Therefore, Song Jiahao and the others had some stage fright. So they wanted to let Zhou Hao, who was the biggest spiritual pillar in their hearts, personally take charge of Hong Kong. After Zhou Hao had lived a leisurely life in Siang City for nearly 2 months, he also became very quiet and moved. Therefore, he agreed to Song Jiahao's request and went to Hong Kong in a few days. However, before he went to Hong Kong, Zhou Hao specially went to Beijing. First, he went to have a meeting with Zhao Yuqin and Yang Jiabao, who had already returned to university. Second, he subtly reminded Zhao Rixin to pay more attention to the situation in Hong Kong. Zhou Hao naturally could not tell Zhao Rixin about George Soros and the others attacking Hong Kong's financial market directly, so that his biggest secret would not be suspected. However, during this period of time, the central government had invested a lot of money into Indonesia's deployment. Zhou Hao knew that Hong Kong would need the support of the central government in order to resist the attacks of those international speculators in the future. If the central government's transfer of funds was delayed, the impact would be too great. Therefore, Zhou Hao told Zhao Rixin that the financial market of Hong Kong might be targeted by international speculators. He wanted the central government to make preparations so that they would not panic when the time came. After that, Zhou Hao took a plane from Beijing to Hong Kong. He had not seen Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing for a long time. Usually, they could only talk about their feelings through phone calls, so Zhou Hao missed them very much. Currently, the Asia Television Limited was managed by Su Lin in an orderly manner. Although they could not completely defeat the Wireless Television Limited, it had changed the situation where they had been trampled by the Wireless Television Limited for a long period of time. It had truly become a television station that could fight against the Wireless Television Limited without falling into a disadvantageous position. Liang Xiaobing's results were also very good. She, who had successfully transitioned into a singer, rarely took part in any television dramas. Instead, more and more people appeared on the big screen. With the help of Zhou Hao's hard work of composing for her, in 2 years, Liang Xiaobing, who had 5 large individual discs, became the most popular female singer on Hong Kong. In the late 1990s, the singers who supported Hong Kong, such as Yi Qianwen, Lin Yilian, and Peng Ling, had gradually faded away. Zhang Xuan, who was going to become famous in the outside world for a few years, was still in the early stages of development. She was the only female singer who could be called a heavenly queen. Now, there was only Wang Fei. Unlike Hong Kong's bad habit of singing Japanese and European songs, Liang Xiaobing relied on a large number of original songs to bring a brand new style to Hong Kong's music industry. It made people's eyes light up, and it posed a strong threat to Wang Fei's status as the elder sister of the music industry. However, after Liang Xiaobing experienced the crazy pursuit of the general public for more than a year, she was already a little tired. Zhou Hao also understood the principle of rushing to retreat bravely. So he also supported Liang Xiaobing and felt gratified that she did not want to miss the Golden Rainbow celebrity halo. Other than Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing, there was another woman in Hong Kong who affected Zhou Hao's heart. Zhou Hao could not help but touch the sapphire necklace in his chest. The graceful figure appeared in his mind. The woman who had left him without saying goodbye after a night in Venice, leaving only the necklace and the lingering fragrance. Brother, you like Vivian's too? While Zhou Hao was immersed in his thoughts, a male voice came from beside him, and the Mandarin he spoke sounded very awkward. Zhou Hao turned his head to look at the source of the voice and saw an American man with headphones and sunglasses on his face. Zero. The American man looked very young, in his early 20s. He had handsome and clean facial features. When he smiled, he revealed a mouthful of white teeth and was chewing gum. Seeing the puzzled expression on Zhou Hao's face, this American man raised his chin towards Zhou Hao's hand. Zhou Hao looked down and saw the magazine in his hand. The page just happened to be the advertisement that Liang Xiaobing had taken. Inside, Liang Xiaobing was wearing a fitting white t-shirt and jeans. There was a warm and pleasant smile on her beautiful face, just like the current May sun that warmed people. The casual clothing on her also showed her extraordinary charm. Only then did Zhou Hao react. Because Liang Xiaobing's English name was Vivian, he smiled at the American and said, "Yeah, she's a pretty good celebrity. She's pretty and there's no gossip about her. She's very pure." Hee hee. None of the people who entered this circle were pure. Even if they were originally pure, after a week, no one would be able to maintain their purity. The American's eyes were blocked by the sunglasses, so he couldn't see his eyes. However, the smile on his face showed his disdain and ridicule. All the pure, female celebrities I know are actually all bitches in the dark, even more slutty than bitches. Until now, no one has been an exception. Hearing this person's words, Zhou Hao frowned. Because in Zhou Hao's heart, Liang Xiaobing was indeed that kind of pure woman, even though she was a little petty. However, it was not a big deal. Instead, she looked even cuter. If she was the kind of person who would give up her principles for fame and fortune, she would have given in when she was threatened by Fang Bingrun, the leader of the gang. The American's gaze once again fell on Liang Xiaobing, who was in the magazine. He smiled and said, "I also like Vivian's, especially her songs. Although I don't really like the style of the songs in China, her songs are indeed good." He put his hands behind his head and said, "I started paying attention to her from her songs. I also started to like this woman more and more." I carefully checked her past information and also saw the film works that she acted in. I found that even though Vivian was considered beautiful in the past, she was far from being as charming as she is now. She did not have any signs of plastic surgery, mainly because of the change in her temperament. That charming style is too amazing." Zhou Hao agreed with his words. After becoming his woman, Liang Xiaobing was indeed much more charming than before. It was not possible for her facial features to change too much, but the temperament she exuded made her lethality towards men increase by a few levels. Also, even though Vivian has never shown his sexy image to others, but I can see that her figure is actually very good. The American smiled ambiguously. "You women from the East are different from us. Your skin is much more delicate and much softer, just like milk." I really want to see Vivian's naked. If I can touch her beautiful breasts, that would be great." Zhou Hao's expression did not change, but the aura on his body became more and more gloomy. After all, not many men could tolerate other people fantasizing about their woman in front of him. He narrowed his eyes and revealed a smile. "You are an American, right? It's rare to see such a good American." Yeah, your Mandarin is much harder to learn than our language, especially when the same word has different meanings in different environments." The American smiled and said, "But I have been interested in China since I was young. I've been learning Mandarin for more than 10 years before I can communicate with you Chinese. But if you want me to write it, I can't." "Are you going to Hong Kong for a vacation?" Zhou Hao asked with a smile. He shook his head. "I'm going to Hong Kong to work." You should know me, right? My name is Alan. Jonathan was the most famous rock band in the United States right now, the lead singer of the Love Band. This time, Our love band is going to Hong Kong for a concert, and Hong Kong is just the first stop. After that, we will go to Shenzhen and Shanghai." When he introduced himself, Jonathan's face was full of pride, as if the whole world should know him. When Zhou Hao heard Jonathan's introduction, he sneered in his heart. The entertainment industry in America was much more chaotic and dark than Hong Kong. Many celebrities had sex disorder and drug scandal, especially rock and roll bands like Jonathan. They simply used all kinds of rebellious actions to show that they were different from the rest. Zhou Hao did not have a good impression of them at all. If Zhou Hao did not have a good impression of the entertainment circles in China, he would be even more disgusted with the Japanese and European circles. "You said your band is going to have a concert in Hong Kong. Why are you the only one here?" Zhou Hao asked. Jonathan laughed. "Hee hee, I sneaked out myself. I've never been to China before, so I thought of going to Beijing to take a look. I played in Beijing for 2 days before I took this flight back to Hong Kong." Seeing the nonchalant look on Jonathan's face, Zhou Hao knew that he was a wild and unruly guy, even though he was not interested in his management company. However, Zhou Hao also felt that Jonathan's actions were irresponsible and treated the company's interests as child's play. If the artists under North Pole Star did this, even though North Pole Star treated their artists much better than their peers, Zhou Hao would definitely punish them severely and even terminate the contract with them. "Your band came to Hong Kong for a concert. Was it your management company who decided on it, or was it invited by Hong Kong?" Jonathan touched his nose. "It was Hong Kong who invited us, but our management company wanted to expand the market here, so it was a good deal." "All right, I remember that the company that invited us seemed to be very famous in Hong Kong." "Yes, that's right. It seems to be called Hong Kong Television and Television Limited. They want to host a charity gala, and they want our band to perform and cheer us on." Zhou Hao secretly laughed in his heart. This Hong Kong Television and Television Limited company was a TVB. As for that charity gala, it would always be held a few times a year. Because of Xiao Yifu's good reputation, he was very enthusiastic about this kind of gala that earned a lot of reputation. At the same time, he gave those Hong Kong tycoons a chance to show off. "Hey, Zhou Hao, I have decided. During this Hong Kong trip, I must get to know Vivian's." Jonathan smiled and said, "I have played with many female celebrities in China, but none of them can be compared to Vivian's." "Hee hee, I'm really looking forward to it." Zhou Hao's smile revealed a trace of coldness. "You are so confident? You can guarantee that I will like you. What if I already have a boyfriend?" Jonathan raised his little finger and mocked. "Humph, humph." These female celebrities usually did not mind being suppressed by men who could be their fathers in order to get a chance to appear in public. "Men like me have always been chased after like a flock of ducks. I've seen this sort of situation too many times and don't need to deliberately do anything. As long as I treat them to a meal and drink a few more glasses of wine, they won't need me to say anything and they'll take me to a room. In the West, in the East, everything is the same, just a bunch of bitches." Even though the female artists in Zhou Hao's entertainment circle who did not know how to clean themselves did not have a good impression of him, he was still very angry when he heard what foreigner said. "I see that the clothes you're wearing are not ordinary, and you can also sit here in first class. You must not be an ordinary person." Jonathan did not notice the coldness on Zhou Hao's body at all. He laughed and said, "How about this? It is rare that you are so compatible with me. I will help you find a few female celebrities to play with when we arrive in Hong Kong. You look good too. If you follow me, it'll be easier for those bitches to take the bait. You don't need to spend a single cent." Zhou Hao smiled. "No need. I am not interested in these things." "TSK, which man would not be interested in these things, unless they are gay or inept?" Jonathan looked at Zhou Hao maliciously. "You are not one of them, are you?" Actually, the plane had already landed at Hong Kong International Airport. The stewardesses had also come to remind the passengers that they could get off the plane. Zhou Hao had no interest in pestering this cynical and self-righteous Jonathan, so he left his seat and walked towards the exit. When he came to the exit, he heard a woman scream behind him. He turned around and saw Jonathan's hand had just retracted from the stewardess's butt. Facing the stewardess's shy and angry expression, he only shrugged his shoulders and looked like he was not a big deal. He shook his head. Zhou Hao ignored that guy and directly got off the plane. When he arrived at the airport, he saw a beautiful figure standing in the waiting area. She was wearing a large pair of brown sunglasses that covered most of her face. Her curly black hair hung naturally on both sides of her face. If it wasn't someone she knew, it would be hard to recognize her at first glance. When she saw Zhou Hao, she immediately revealed a pleasantly surprised smile, and at the same time, she anxiously ran over. Zhou Hao also quickly walked over. In the end, The two of them hugged each other. Such a scene often happened in the airport, so the surrounding people were already accustomed to it and did not bother Zhou Hao and Zhou Hao. Celebrity, why did I trouble you to personally come and pick me up? Zhou Hao hugged her, feeling the two large white rabbits that were tightly pressed against his chest, and said with a teasing smile. She pouted and said, "What big star? Aren't you the one who gave me everything I have now? You must be joking with me." After saying that, she patted Zhou Hao's shoulder a few times and said, "Bad guy, it has been so long. If you don't come to see me, don't you know that imaginary disease is fatal? I'm here now. I'm just afraid of waiting. You'll have to blame me for coming too much at night." Zhou Hao smiled ambiguously and lowered his head to kiss the corner of her mouth. At this moment, the two of them heard a commotion behind them. Zhou Hao looked towards the source of the sound and saw Jonathan. He was surrounded by a large group of young men and women. The group of young men were shouting and yelling. They asked Jonathan to sign and take pictures of Jonathan. They looked crazy. It seemed like they were Jonathan's fans. Jonathan was surrounded by a group of crazy fans. Although he was caught off guard, there was a clear look of excitement on his face. Obviously, he enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. When he saw Zhou Hao, he deliberately revealed a proud smile. "That's not Alan." "Jonathan? How do you know him?" Liang Xiaobing, who was in her arms, asked. "Not really. We just sat together when we were on the plane." Zhou Hao said, "You, on the other hand, do you know that guy?" Liang Xiaobing shook her head. "I've never met him. I've only heard of him." Their Love Orchestra had been invited by the TVB to participate in the charity gala of 10,000 Starlight Sacrifice. However, the other 4 members of their band had all come. The only thing he hasn't shown himself is that his management company even said to the public that he has caught a cold and is hospitalized. "Let's go back. This guy isn't anything good." Zhou Hao smiled and left with Liang Xiaobing in his arms. Jonathan, who was still surrounded by fans, looked at Zhou Hao and Liang Xiaobing's back. He was confused. Why does the woman beside Zhou Hao look like Vivian? Thinking about it, he felt that it was impossible for Zhou Hao to have a relationship with a female celebrity like Liang Xiaobing. He did not think further and continued to deal with the crazy fans in front of him. The car that picked up Zhou Hao was a black Cardiac. All the windows were closed and the situation inside could not be seen. Liang Xiaobing pulled Zhou Hao to the back seat and Zhou Hao got into the car. When Zhou Hao got into the car, he realized that Su Lin was sitting in the driver's seat. Hee, even the CEO of Asia Television Limited is here. My reputation is really big, Zhou Hao said with a smile. Compared to the last time they met, Su Lin was more mature now. Her ability and decisiveness, hidden between her brows, could definitely make ordinary people respect her. She only restrained herself in front of Zhou Hao and became as gentle as water. When they entered the car, the people outside could not see this side. Liang Xiaobing did not have any scruples. After taking off her sunglasses, she suddenly rushed over and hugged Zhou Hao. Without waiting for Zhou Hao to say anything, she blocked his lips and passionately kissed him. Zhou Hao did not know whether to laugh or cry at Liang Xiaobing's fierce actions, but he immediately turned around and took the lead. He tightly hugged Liang Xiaobing's slim waist and recklessly tasted her cherry lips and fragrant tongue, as well as the human alcohol liquid inside. The temperature in the car also heated up for a moment. Su Lin, who was driving the car in front, saw Zhou Hao and Liang Xiaobing's burning heat through the rear mirror. Her face was also red, and there seemed to be something overflowing from the end of her legs. It was still because she had to drive that she forcefully suppressed the surge in her heart and only said, "I still remember it. When we go back, you have to make it up to me." When they returned to the half-mountain villa, the 3 of them completely let go of it and celebrated. Su Lin had already taken all the maids in the villa off long ago to avoid disturbing them. After parting with Zhou Hao for a long time, Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing missed him very much. Fortunately, their work was very busy, so they could borrow work to wash away their longing for Zhou Hao. But now that they met with Zhou Hao, this long-suppressed passion could no longer be hidden. The 2 girls could not care about their shyness and directly had a fight with the twin phoenix roaming dragon. Zhou Hao did not show weakness either. Along the way, he sang songs and tossed the 2 girls around. Their bones were so weak that their bones were soft. Their battle record was left in the living room, kitchen, bathroom, ladder room, and other places. From the afternoon battle to the night, the 3 of them finally calmed down and laid down on the wooden floor of the gym on the 2nd floor. Zhou Hao held the 2 extremely attractive jade bodies in his arms one by one. He was still playing with the 2 women's unique breasts. Su Lin's appearance just now was too scary. I was afraid that the neighbors would hear your scream. I think if the Asia Television Limited's employees saw their serious CEO Su having such a side, they would definitely be shocked. Liang Xiaobing said with a smile. Su Lin's face turned red. You are so much better than me. Just now, who was lying on Zhou Hao's body and needed my help to step on him? Zhou Hao hugged the two girls and laughed loudly. Neither of you is better than the other. I think this is good. Let's fight again and see who can last longer. After saying that, he turned around and hit the two women again, beating the war drums in their exclamation. That night, Zhou Hao could be said to have enjoyed all the tenderness. He and Su Lin, Liang Xiaobing and the other two girls, had a good night with each other. In the end, they were exhausted and fell asleep. The next day, Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing also did their best to serve Zhou Hao. They did not look like the female CEO of a large television station or a superstar who could call the wind and summon the rain on the stage. It made Zhou Hao feel like he had become a great master in the feudal era. Come, a dash. At the dining table, Su Lin held a small spoon of soft salted egg and lean meat porridge to Zhou Hao's mouth. She looked at Zhou Hao with tender eyes, like a virtuous wife. Zhou Hao swallowed the porridge in one gulp. Although the taste was not outstanding, it was better than a strong heart. It made one's entire heart warm up. He could naturally tell that this salted egg and lean meat porridge was cooked by Su Lin herself. Liang Xiaobing also quietly got up from Zhou Hao's arms early in the morning. She secretly went to the kitchen to make breakfast for Zhou Hao. She thought that Zhou Hao did not know. How is it? Su Lin's eyes were very nervous and full of expectation. It's delicious. Zhou Hao smiled. On the other side, Liang Xiaobing also picked up a roll of stir-fried noodles and went in front of Zhou Hao. Hao, try this stir-fried noodles. I made it. Zhou Hao ate the stir-fried noodles again and said with a smile, although it is a little lacking in heat, it is still very delicious. Just like that, the three of them enjoyed a warm breakfast of love and then drove to the Asia Television Limited's television city. The Asia Television Limited had moved their headquarters to the new TV city in General Australia not long ago. The venue and equipment were much better than before, and it also brought a new beginning to the Asia Television Limited. The area of the new TV city was much bigger than the old TV city on the radio. Even the parking lot was much more spacious, and the cars of employees and artistes were parked neatly. After getting out of the car, Zhou Hao saw the unique TV building in front of him. Su Lin, who was beside him, smiled and said, "The new TV city has been built for such a long time. You haven't even come to see it. You are really irresponsible. With an expert like you helping me manage it, do you need me to worry?" Zhou Hao said with a smile. Miss Su, Sister Xiaobing. Along the way, the Asia Television Limited staff and artistes who saw Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing greeted them respectfully. Many of them had just come in not long ago, so they did not know Zhou Hao. They only secretly guessed in their hearts who this handsome man, accompanied by Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing, was. Seeing that there were many new faces in Asia Television Limited, Zhou Hao said, "There are a lot of new employees. Our Asia Television Limited's development is not bad, right?" Liang Xiaobing nodded. Yes. During this period of time, we have been continuously recruiting professionals in different areas. There are not enough artistes. Luckily, the artistes training class can replenish a lot of fresh blood for us. Oh, right. A large portion of the newcomers have jumped ship from the wireless side. Su Lin smiled and said, who asked the Wi-Fi to flay their employees and artistes too badly. Not only did they work for a long time, they also took away most of the commission and made the employees and artistes complain. In the past, they monopolized Hong Kong's television industry and could still control the people under them. Now, with the rise of Asia Television Limited, the treatment on our side has become much better. Naturally, a large number of talents have changed jobs. Now, we have no choice but to increase the treatment to retain the employees. Zhou Hao scratched Su Lin's nose. You are really ruthless. You even snatched the live broadcast rights of Hong Kong's Golden Film Awards from the wireless. I heard that Xiao Yifu was so angry that he went to the hospital at that time. Su Lin blushed at Zhou Hao's intimate actions and said shyly, that was because the employees and artistes under the wireless protested that the salary given to them by the wireless was too low at that time. The incident caused a huge impact on the wireless's reputation. It just so happens that our public relations department performed excellently and successfully allowed the Golden Image Awards Board of Directors to grant us the right to broadcast. Even though Su Lin had said it casually, Zhou Hao knew that the Asia Television Limited must have put in a lot of effort for this. As they walked and chatted, the surrounding employees were stunned because Su Lin was usually very serious and stern. She had once directly sued a few employees who sold out the company's interests. In addition, she had very strong management skills. Her courage in the competition with the Wireless Television Limited was fully displayed, so the employees and artistes below were both shocked and afraid of her. At this moment, when they saw her frowning and smiling in front of the handsome young man, they were very surprised. At the same time, they felt that Su Lin's smiling face really had the charm of a fish sinking into a swan. Liang Xiaobing usually treated people gently and friendly, but in front of Zhou Hao, there was an indescribable charm. The corners of her mouth slightly curled up, making people feel that the flowers and moon were colorless. Therefore, everyone was even more curious about this man who could make the two beauties of Asia Television Limited fully express their charm. 1. Zhou Hao didn't pay attention to the surprised and envious gazes around him. As he walked, he said to Su Lin, "The program you guys set up earlier was very successful. It was even better than the previous Asia Television Limited and the wireless Taiching." Liang Xiaobing, who was standing at the side, smiled and said, "That time, instead of calling it the celebration of Asia Television Limited, it would be more accurate to say that it was a celebration banquet for our achievements in the past year." "That's right." Su Lin also said, "The first and second parts of Zombies that we have broadcasted, Returning Pearl Gauge, as well as Meteor Garden and Traversing Four Seas that are still being broadcasted, are all very popular. The average viewership of a few dramas has exceeded 30 points. This has already broken the Asia Television Limited's viewership record for more than 10 years. On the day of the ceremony, the main actors of these few shows were all present. This is also the main reason why Taiching received a high viewership." Liang Xiaobing snorted and said, "You didn't see the explosive scene when Zhao Wei, Lin Xinru, and the F4 appeared. If it wasn't for our prior security preparations, I'm afraid that the stage would have collapsed because of the live audience." As they chatted, the three of them had already arrived at the CEO's office on the top floor. It was also Su Lin's usual office. This office was more than 150 square meters. It was very generous. There was also a small room to rest at the side. Liang Jiashu, Xian Jiwei, Qin Shisan, Chai Jibiao, Li Zhaoxi, Michael, Ho Weiluan, Su Yuan, and a few other higher-ups of Asia Television Limited had received news from Su Lin that Zhou Hao had returned today, so they had been waiting for him in Su Lin's office for a long time. As this was not a formal meeting between the higher-ups, Zhou Hao's meeting with them was not arranged in the meeting room, but here. It also made them more friendly and less reserved. Seeing Zhou Hao and the other two come in, Liang Jiashu and the others immediately stood up and greeted Zhou Hao. "Mr. Zhou." Liang Jiashu, who used to treat Zhou Hao as a junior, now spoke in a much more respectful tone. This was because the Asia Television Limited had turned the tables in this short period of 1 year, and had changed the situation where they had been stepped on by Wi-Fi. They were evenly matched with Wi-Fi. Although Su Lin was the one in charge of the Asia Television Limited now, Su Lin had told them before that many of the development strategies were directly issued by Zhou Hao. To a large extent, she was just an executor. Therefore, Liang Jiashu and the other higher-ups were full of admiration and respect for Zhou Hao. "Everyone, sit. Elder Liang, you too. We haven't seen each other for a while. Why are you treating us as outsiders?" Zhou Hao smiled warmly and said, "Su Lin, your secretary is not responsible. Elder Liang and the others have been here for so long, but they have not seen him bring coffee in." With just this sentence, everyone's nervousness was washed away a lot. Liang Jiashu also felt that Zhou Hao understood the way of controlling his subordinates more than Xiao Yifu and Fang Yihua. Su Lin smiled and let the secretary outside bring drinks for everyone. In fact, her secretary was very careful. She was familiar with the drinks Liang Jiashu and Fang Yihua liked and took good care of them. Zhou Hao smiled when he saw Qin Shisan and the others looking at him. The Asia Television Limited was able to achieve their current results thanks to everyone's help. "I am here to thank everyone." Qin Shisan waved his hand and said, "Boss, you're wrong. Back then, it was you who pulled me back to the casino and gave me the opportunity to show off my talent. I, Qin Shisan, am the one who has achieved what I have today. It was all because of you, boss. I should be thanking you." Xian Jiwei also nodded his head heavily. "That's right. If it wasn't for you ordering me to go to the hospital for a full body examination, I wouldn't have found out that I was suffering from nasal cancer. Fortunately, I found it early." The doctor also said that it was very difficult to find nasal cancer in the early stage. When many people discovered it, it was already in the late stage. He even said that he was lucky that the cancer cells had not started to spread and had already been cured. "It can be said that my life was saved by you, boss. It should be thanks to you, boss." The others were also affected by their emotions and were filled with gratitude towards Zhou Hao. Liang Jiashu, Su Yuan, Ho Weiluan, and the others were ostracized on the wireless side. It was Zhou Hao who gave them the opportunity to develop and take revenge on the wireless. Chai Jinping, on the other hand, was in the early stages of difficult development in Taiwan. His current results were also given by Zhou Hao. Everyone present, a year ago, was abandoned by others or a depressed talent with great ambitions, but now, he had become the famous gold medal supervisor in Hong Kong, and even the entire country. Chen Shirsan and Chai Jinping, in particular, had become the most popular TV producer by relying on I Have a Date with Zombies and Meteor Garden. As the backbone of Asia Television Limited, as long as they spread the news of other plans for development, there would definitely be a large number of television stations fighting over them. After all, the famous celebrities could create and promote themselves. A good producer would need many years of accumulation before they could succeed. It was a typical case of a late bloomer type of talent. It was also the common saying that a 1,000-mile horse was common, but Bolu was not. Although this group of core members who supported the Asia Television Limited was famous for their profitability, none of them had any other ideas. Instead, they were even more conscientious in promoting the development of the Asia Television Limited. Qin Shirsan and Xian Jiwei were people who valued friendship. Naturally, they wouldn't have any thoughts of betraying them. However, Liang Jiashu and Chai Jinping, who valued profit more than anything else, were grateful to Zhou Hao for giving them the opportunity to develop. They also knew a lot about Zhou Hao's influence. When Liang Jiashu was in Wireless Television Limited, he had seen many wireless artists make movies or advertisements for the gangs. Not to mention the small rewards. Most of the movies they make were low cost, or even third-grade movies. One of the reasons was that Wireless itself had the intention of selling its artistes at a low price and exploiting their commercial value. On the other hand, for actors who were heavily groomed by Wireless and were unwilling to betray, the gangs would use various methods to achieve their goals through threats. After coming to the Asia Television Limited, under the management of Zhou Hao and Su Lin, the Asia Television Limited naturally would not do something like selling out their employees. Liang Jiashu had worked here for so long, but he did not see any gangs coming to ask for artistes. From this, it could be seen that with Zhou Hao in charge of the Asia Television Limited, their prestige in the underworld was higher than Wireless. Liang Jiashu also heard that the three largest gangs in Hong Kong, Xian, E-Star, and 14K, were all friends with Zhou Hao. They, who had been in the circle for several decades, knew how powerful the underworld was. The employees who sold out the company's benefits were directly sued by Asia Television Limited. After being imprisoned, they were still bullied by the prison heads, and that was what the gangs did. Besides that, Liang Jiashu, Chai Jinping, and the others were old foxes with good eyesight. They could see that although the Asia Television Limited could not completely defeat Wireless, their development potential was far greater than Wireless's, especially since Zhou Hao had the Galaxy Television, which was in the limelight on the continent. These two television stations were both subsidiaries of North Polestar, and the Asia Television Limited had the innate advantage of going north to expand the internal market. This was something that Wireless could not compare with. Therefore, they had made up their mind to stay in the Asia Television Limited. In the future, when the Asia Television Limited was like Japan, these people would be considered as contributors to the establishment of the country. Zhou Hao did not sit in Su Lin's position as the president. Instead, he sat on the sofa leisurely. Next to him was Chen Shirsan. He took a document from Su Lin and opened it. Then he smiled and said, "Right now, the most popular TV series in Asia Television Limited is Meteor Garden. The highest viewership has even broken 40 points. It is just a little bit away from breaking the previous record of Returning Pearl to Gidge. Galaxy Satellite TV has also become popular in the country after it has been broadcasted. Hehe, very good. I'm very satisfied with this result. Sister Jinping, you have contributed a lot." Hearing Zhou Hao, who was more than 10 years younger than her, praise her, Chai Jinping was very happy. However, he heard Zhou Hao change the topic. The F4 and the other three are now in the limelight in Hong Kong, Macau, and within the country. Their exposure rate is not even comparable to those of the Heavenly Emperor and Heavenly Queen. This is a good thing. It means that the company has successfully packaged them. But Zhou Hao's words made Chai Jinping's heart skip a beat. Although Zhou Hao was more than 10 years younger than her, Chai Jinping did not dare to be impudent in front of Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao did not even raise his head to look at her. He kept looking at the document in his hand. But recently, the F4 seems to have become spoiled. Although our company has always adopted a loose management method towards the artistes under our banner, it does not stop the artistes from living their own private lives. However, as employees of the company, they also have to consider what kind of impact their actions will bring to the company's image. Even though Zhou Hao had said it casually, Chai Jinping had already sat up straight. His head was also lowered, and he looked like he was keeping quiet out of fear. She understood that Zhou Hao was talking about a conflict between the F4 and their paparazzi when they were in Hong Kong's nightclub. Yin Chengxiu had also hit one of the reporters, which caused a lot of news. The wireless side had also caught the plates and took the opportunity to attack Asia Television Limited. In the end, it was Su Lin who came forward and quickly settled the matter of the magazine that belonged to the paparazzi. She also decisively asked the F4 to hold a press conference to make a public apology. She even cleverly directed the blame to the paparazzi that all the Hong Kong artistes hated. The negative impact caused by the F4 was reduced to the lowest, and the F4's positive image was finally preserved. It's normal to go to nightclubs to have fun. The company never forbade them from going. Zhou Hao said, as long as they don't do anything outrageous in the nightclubs, it doesn't matter if they are padded by reporters. Just treat it as someone advertising for the company for free. If they are really unhappy with those paparazzi, they can't do it themselves. You can inform the company, and the company will naturally settle it for them. After all, after becoming a celebrity, any small matter would be magnified infinitely. Sister Jiping, you've been in the industry for more than 10 years. You should understand this principle, right? Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Zhou. It was because I was not strict enough and caused the company to suffer losses. Chai Jiping lowered his head. Although the matter that time was not entirely the F4's fault, Chai Jiping did not dare refute Zhou Hao at all. He only respectfully agreed. Forget it. Eating a sting to grow one intelligence. This matter has also sounded the alarm for us. 1. Zhou Hao looked at the crowd. In the future, you all have to pay more attention to the behavior of the artistes below. Don't embarrass the company anymore. Everyone hurriedly nodded in agreement. In fact, the freedom of the artistes under Polar North was far greater than that of other companies. However, ever since the incident with the F4, their management of their own artistes had become much stricter. When artistes went out, they were often accompanied by people from the company. Once there was an emergency, the company would take care of it and try their best not to involve the artistes in it. Zhou Hao smiled and said, all right. Sister Jiping, don't blame yourself. It's not all your fault. Just be careful in the future. The company still needs people like you to support it. When Chai Jiping heard this, he heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. A smile also appeared on his face. He was very grateful for Zhou Hao's tolerance and regard for him. On the other side, Liang Jiashu saw that Zhou Hao's few words could make Chai Jiping's mood rise and fall. When he felt relieved, he was secretly impressed. He thought that it was no wonder that even an old fox like Xiao Yifu was defeated by Zhou Hao. Mr. Zhou, Meteor Garden has achieved such a good result, and now the ending is about to be big, so I suggest we start filming the second one. After Chai Jiping recovered his emotions, he gave Zhou Hao his own suggestion. Zhou Hao shook his head. There is no need to film the second one. With the current popularity of the F4, we can still get good results in the second one. However, the plot and implications are much worse. In the future, I am afraid people will call it Dogtail Ferret's work. It will not do any good to the company's reputation. Seeing Chai Jiping's sad expression, Zhou Hao smiled again. But don't be discouraged. The company has 2 new dramas that you need to be responsible for. Su Lin handed the 2 scripts to Chai Jiping. Chai Jiping looked at the cover and said, Romance House? Prince Become a Frog? That's right. These are the 2 television dramas. Just like Meteor Garden, these 2 dramas will be filmed in China. The North Pole star will cooperate with you. I hope you can finish it well. Romance House will be the highlight of the company's 99th year. At the same time, it will work with the Tongguang Food Company in China. Sister Jiping, you have to pay a lot of money. In his previous life, the results of the Taiwanese idol drama, Prince Become a Frog, had broken the record of the first episode of Meteor Garden. It was a milestone production of the idol drama, and Romance House had become the most popular idol drama in Korea and even Asia. Hence, the popular reign had also gone international. After looking at the rough contents of the script, Chai Jiping concluded that these 2 dramas would definitely be very popular. In his heart, he was very grateful to Zhou Hao for letting him be in charge of these 2 outstanding dramas. Zhou Hao looked at Ho Weiluan again. Weiluan, the story you are in charge of is very popular. It has won a very good reputation for the company. I hope you can keep it up and achieve better results. Ho Weiluan, who had traveled almost the entire world to film the story of looking for another country, was much darker than before. When he heard Zhou Hao's praise, he felt that all his efforts were worth it. In this meeting between the higher-ups, Zhou Hao simply summarized the results and various deficiencies that he had achieved in the past year. He also gave everyone the following task. Finally, he smiled and said, in the past, Asia Television Limited was always stepped on by wireless. People outside say that Asia Television Limited is the only television station in Hong Kong that can compete with wireless. In fact, this saying is very exaggerated. The reason why the Asia Television Limited is able to compete with the wireless is because so far, only the Asia Television Limited and the wireless have free broadcasting license plates in Hong Kong. The other television stations are unable to interfere, which is why the Asia Television Limited is able to struggle at death's door. Especially the radio that the Hong Kong people have watched for more than 20 years. It has become a habit of watching and watching. This caused the Asia Television Limited to be no match for the wireless, even if they occasionally have a good piece of art. After a pause, he continued, and now, by relying on everyone's joint efforts, our Asia Television Limited can finally break this F***king habit of watching. Now, we have truly become a television station that can fight a tough war with the wireless. Furthermore, I believe that in the future, the government will increase the number of license plates for free TV. Therefore, we, the Asia Television Limited, cannot treat the radio as our only competitor. We must look into the future and be prepared to welcome other competitors. After the meeting ended, Liang Jiashu smiled at Zhou Hao before he left. Boss, Xiao Yifu's charity gala, Thousands of Starlight Sacrifice Compassion, has also sent us an invitation. I hope our Miss Su can attend. Only Zhou Hao, Su Lin, and Liang Xiaobing were left in the office. Zhou Hao sat on Su Lin's big chair, while Su Lin stood behind him and gently massaged his shoulders. Zhou Hao laughed and said to Su Lin, "That old guy Xiao Yifu invited us?" Su Lin nodded and said in a low voice, "With Xiao Yifu's character, he should not have invited us. He was so angry that he was hospitalized at the awards ceremony last time, and also ordered everyone on wireless to not attend the awards ceremony. We invited him before during our station celebration, but he didn't attend, and wireless didn't send anyone over either." Liang Xiaobing, who was helping Zhou Hao organize the documents, snorted and said, "That old man appears to be kind and righteous on the surface, but he is actually very petty. I think he invited us this time with ill intentions, and it might even be a Hongmin banquet." Zhou Hao grabbed one of Su Lin's jade hands and played with it carefully. He smiled and said, "It is true that he doesn't have good intentions. But those who attended the charity banquet must be famous people in Hong Kong, including the high-ranking officials of the special regional government. I don't think that old man Xiao Yifu would dare to do anything to us openly. Then do you think we should attend? Or let the people below represent the Asia Television Limited?" Su Lin asked. "They have already specifically invited you. If we let the people below participate, it would seem that we are not qualified enough. Besides, although Xiao Yifu is passionate about his reputation, he has made a great contribution to the charity work. Since it is a good thing, it doesn't matter if we do more." Zhou Hao smiled and said, "When the time comes, I will go with you."
Yes.
Su Lin nodded happily because with Zhou Hao accompanying her, not to mention the Hongmin banquet, even if it was a sea of fire, she would willingly make a trip. She said, "By the way, did you ask Chai Jiting to film The House of Romance to promote Annie's romantic house full of cake shops?" Zhou Hao said, "That's what I meant." Hee. Now the Tongguang Food Company's scale was getting bigger and bigger, and its development was also getting faster and faster. If there was a good opportunity to promote it, it could explode and blossom in the whole country. As for those television advertisements, plain advertisements, and even online advertisements, they have already been done. Although the effect is not bad, the influence is too small. Therefore, I want to use this romance house to let the whole country, and even the whole of Asia, know about the reputation of the Tongguang Food Company. This is not only the best opportunity for the Tongguang to open up the market in the country, but also the first step for the Tongguang to enter the international market. The Tongguang Food Company currently had two main businesses, namely the Mrs. Zhou's restaurant and the Romance House cake shop. To promote the Tongguang, they did not need to do both at the same time. As long as they could make a name for themselves, they would be able to make the Tongguang more popular, which would lead to the other side. When he first opened the romantic cake shop, Zhou Hao had named it Romance House, which was a popular TV series in his previous life. Now, he could use it to promote himself. Zhou Hao knew how popular Romance House was in his previous life. Even Southeast Asia and Japan were affected by it. As for the actors, Zhou Hao did not plan to use the original version of Ryan and Song Huiqiao. After working in the media industry for so long, Zhou Hao knew that it was not difficult to promote a celebrity. Furthermore, there were more than 1 billion people in China. Zhou Hao did not believe that the information network on the North Pole Star would not be able to find a suitable candidate. Zhou Hao said heroically, "I want to let the Tongguang rush out of China to the international stage. In fact, romance is to make the name of the Tongguang famous, not just to promote the romantic cake shop. The cake was originally food from the West. Whether it was in terms of culture or specialties, we can't compare to Western food. So cake food can't be the pillar of our international food market. Liang Xiaobing's eyes lit up and said excitedly, "How? You mean Mrs. Zhou's restaurant?" "Yes. The reason why the romantic cake shop is publicized is just to bring Mrs. Zhou's restaurant along. Mrs. Zhou's restaurant is the key for Tongguang to gain a foothold in the international market." Zhou Hao said, "Right now, in the branches of Mrs. Zhou's restaurant in different parts of the country, the food they sell is mainly local specialties, or they sell local specialties and snacks in other places. However, there is still a limit to how much potential we can develop by selling our own dishes in China, and we don't have enough sense of achievement. Just like McDonald's and KFC, they have branches all over the world. However, in America, these two fast food restaurants are the lowest ranked." Su Lin smiled and said, "I know. You want to sell our Chinese food overseas. Humph, humph, humph. Actually, the whole world knows that our Chinese food is delicious. Don't people often say that the most perfect life is to live in a British house, eat Chinese food, and marry a Japanese wife? There are delicious food in China everywhere in the world, and it is very popular." Zhou Hao said, "But up until now, there has never been a powerful company like McDonald's or KFC that has a scale and plan to make China's food popular worldwide. 2. The restaurants in China are too scattered, and most of them are small-scale businesses. Although they have made China's cuisine famous, they are not successful in business operations." "Are you saying that you want the Tongguang to get rid of the leader of the dishes in China?" Su Lin smiled very happily. Zhou Hao clenched his fists, his eyes full of determination and confidence. Although this road is far, the target is clearly visible. Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing believed Zhou Hao's good words very much. They both believed that Zhou Hao is a man who could do whatever he said. Just like in the past, who would believe that Asia Television Limited could really rise up and become the deadliest threat in the world. But Zhou Hao did it. "By the way, I heard that the Tongguang also seems to be interested in entering the supermarket." Su Lin asked. "That's right. In the next 10 years, the large supermarket will be one of the most profitable industries." Zhou Hao smiled. "We have sufficient funds and connections. We have a lot of advantages when it comes to supermarkets. Since there is still space in the domestic market, we have to make the best use of our time. Otherwise, this market in China will be divided up by foreign merchants." Su Lin listened to Zhou Hao speak frankly and confidently, but she was only immersed in the charm of a man with confidence on his face. Her eyes were a little blurred. Sometimes, when she thought about it, she also felt that it was unbelievable. Most young people at Zhou Hao's age were still worried about their studies in school, but Zhou Hao was already considering billions of dollars worth of commercial investment and even the entire market in China. Moreover, no matter whether it was during college or after working, he had no lack of suitors. He had actually fallen into the love whirlpool of this young man, and even ignored the man who was his good friend. Su Lin. Oh, what? Su Lin only came back to her senses after Zhou Hao called her twice. Zhou Hao smiled and said, "I said you haven't gone to Xiang City to see Sister Lan for such a long time. Sister Lan thought I arranged too much work for you and made you unable to leave." Su Lin's face immediately became embarrassed. The person she was most unwilling to face now was Li Ruolin. Because Zhou Hao was Li Ruolin's man, when Su Lin first had a good impression of Zhou Hao, she also reminded herself not to fall too deep into it and to keep a distance from Zhou Hao. But Zhou Hao's lethality towards women was too great. Su Lin could not help but follow him to Hong Kong. Later, because of a coincidence, she had the closest relationship with Zhou Hao, making her a woman worthy of Zhou Hao's name. She did not want to hurt Li Ruolin, this good friend, but she could not give up on Zhou Hao. Su Lin, who suffered because of this conflict, could only avoid Li Ruolin and disappear, even if Li Ruolin took the initiative to call her. Su Lin did not even say a few words before she said that she was too busy with work and hung up the phone. After that, she felt very guilty towards Li Ruolin. Now that she heard Zhou Hao asking her this question with a smile, Su Lin did not stop looking at him with a resentful gaze. "She thought that it was because of you that I was unable to face Ruolin. Back then, you knew that I was Ruolin's good friend, but you still did not restrain yourself, making me sink deeper and deeper. Until now, my mud feet had sunk and I was unable to extricate myself." Looking at Su Lin's flickering expression, Zhou Hao pulled her into his embrace. "You can go and see Sister Lan without worry. She doesn't know anything about our matter. It's because she doesn't know that I feel that I can't face her." Su Lin leaned against Zhou Hao's chest and said faintly. Liang Xiaobing also said, "That's right. It's all Hao's fault for being so fickle. That's why Su Lin is in such a difficult position. Aya, how can this be my fault? Zhou Hao cried out in injustice at that time. I don't know who accidentally ate the medicine and forced me, this little boy, to take turns. Now, you are blaming me for succeeding? You are a big bad guy who can distort right and wrong. Su Lin was angered by Zhou Hao's distorted words and repeatedly used her fists to take revenge. Liang Xiaobing also rushed over and bared her teeth to find Zhou Hao to settle the score. This charity gala, which was hosted by Wireless, was held in Wireless Television Limited's #1 video studio. This #1 video studio was used by Wireless Television Limited to host large-scale live broadcast programs and could accommodate more than 700 audience. Just as Zhou Hao and the rest had expected, the people invited this time were all high-ranking officials and celebrities in Hong Kong. Almost all of the upper-class society in Hong Kong were gathered here. It could be seen that Xiao Yifu's appeal was indeed great. Other than Su Lin, who was the CEO of Asia Television Limited, who represented Asia Television Limited, Zhou Hao also deliberately brought Liang Jiashu, who was once an elder on wireless media, here to vent his anger on Xiao Yifu. Elder Liang, have you ever produced such a large-scale live show on the radio before? Zhou Hao asked Liang Jiashu, who was dressed in formal attire, with a smile on his face. Liang Jiashu also answered with a smile, I have tried to produce a live show like this in 1993. However, large-scale live shows like this would usually be supervised by 2 to 3 supervisors. After all, this kind of show directly affected the image and reputation of the entire wireless network, so it could not be wrong. There was once a supervisor who made a mistake in this live show, and after that, he was immediately fired by Xiao Yifu. After that, he won't be able to gain a foothold in Hong Kong's television industry. Your sixth uncle is really ruthless. He didn't even give up after he fired him. He directly cut off his future. Liang Jiashu shrugged his shoulders. If he was the kind of person who cares about old relationships, he wouldn't let me be ostracized. Xiao Hao, you're here too? 2 men and 2 women arrived in front of Zhou Hao at this time. They were Zhang Yingquan and Zhang Yingpei. They were both wearing formal suits, and Zhang Yingquan was wearing a butterfly bow tie as usual. Uncle Quan, Uncle Pei. Zhou Hao greeted them with a smile. You are here to represent the government? Zhang Yingquan nodded. It is a charity business. We, the government of Hong Kong, support it very much. Because Chief Executive Dong has official business to attend to, he can't come personally, so he sent us 2 brothers to represent the government. Zhang Yingpei looked at Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing, who were beside Zhou Hao, and said with a smile, for the past year, both of you have been very eye-catching. One of you is the new queen of the Hong Kong TV Festival, who led the Asia Television Limited to beat up the wireless, and the other is a celebrity who has become famous throughout Asia. Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing knew about the Zhang family's position in Hong Kong. Zhang Yingquan and Zhang Yingpei had been very good to them, so they often visited the Zhang family to get closer to them and help Zhou Hao establish connections in Hong Kong. Zhang brothers' wife, Zhang Bao, Love Jing and Zhang Minjing, came over and pulled Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing away. They went over there to chat. Xiao Hao, ever since you bought the Asia Television Limited, you have been very fierce with Sir Xiao's Wireless Television Limited. Zhang Yingquan said to Zhou Hao, the television industry in Hong Kong has been monopolized by the Wireless Television Limited for too long. It is a good thing that the Asia Television Limited can rise and compete with them. As the saying goes, competition promotes development. However, I still hope that the competition between the 2 of you can be as peaceful as possible. Don't cause any evil competition. Furthermore, Sir Xiao has a deep roots in Hong Kong, and very few people in the society can compare to him. The people in the political and business world respect him very much, and if you push too hard, after all, it's not a good thing. Zhou Hao understood that Zhang Yingquan was genuinely concerned about him, but he also knew that the grudge between him and Xiao Yifu could not be resolved. Besides, even if he did not move, Xiao Yifu would never let go of his competitors. As the saying goes, business is like a battlefield. This was especially intense in Hong Kong's television industry. If you took a step back, your opponent would take another step forward. There was no mercy to speak of. Therefore, Zhou Hao smiled and said, Thank you for your concern, Uncle Quan. But Uncle Quan, Uncle Pei, you should also know Xiao Yifu's character. Even if I give in, will he stop just like that? Furthermore, you all should know Su Lin's personality. Ever since she managed the Asia Television Limited, the competition between the Asia Television Limited and Wireless had always been open and aboveboard. On the other hand, it was Wireless. Humph, humph, humph. Zhang Yingquan and Zhang Yingpei looked at each other and smiled bitterly. What Zhou Hao said was right. Xiao Yifu had never shown mercy to his competitors. It was the same with Jiahe and Xian City. The Asia Television Limited in Lin by Xian's era was the same. Now, the Asia Television Limited, which was controlled by Zhou Hao, was no exception. Furthermore, they knew very well that Su Lin was in charge of the Asia Television Limited. Her way of doing things was open and aboveboard. She had a good reputation in the industry. On the other hand, she had been making small moves ever since the rise of the Asia Television Limited. Zheng Yingpei patted Zhou Hao on the shoulder. Anyway, you just need to know your limits. We have no intention of being peacekeepers for you. It's just that the power of the media cannot be underestimated. If you push wireless into a corner, it is hard to guarantee that they will not jump over the wall in desperation. You also know that Hong Kong has only returned for a year. The most important thing is stability. This is a great principle set by the central government. No one can violate it. His other intention was to tell Zhou how to take the bigger picture into consideration. Otherwise, no one in the central government would have a good ending if they provoked him. I know, Uncle Pei. Do you still not trust Xiao Hao? Zhou Hao said with a smile. That's good. Although you are young, you are still reliable when it comes to handling matters. The two of us will not talk about it anymore. Zheng Yingpei smiled. By the way, General Liu also wanted to come over tonight, but he was afraid that it would cause unnecessary speculation, so he didn't come. He asked me to tell you to come over to his place when you have time. He hasn't had a drink with you in a long time. Zhou Hao smiled and nodded. Of course, of course. I'm just afraid that old drunkard doesn't know when to advance and when to retreat. If I get drunk, I will lose face. Zheng Yingquan and Zheng Yingpei laughed. They looked at Zhou Hao with admiration, then walked away to socialize with other famous people. 1. As soon as they left, Xiang Huaqiang, and Ai Yongxiao and An Longji, the leaders of the 3 major clubs in Hong Kong, came over. They were all dressed in suits and shoes like Zheng Yingquan and the others. They did not look like gang leaders at all, especially An Longji, who graduated from MIT. He wore a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. He was a highly educated person. It was hard for people who did not know the inside story to imagine that he was the leader of 14K. Zhou Hao was not as particular about these few Hong Kong mafia tycoons as Zheng Yingquan and the rest. He directly punched an Ai Yongxiao on the shoulder and said with a smile, "You villains are here to do good?" Xiang Huaqiang smiled and said, "You are wrong. You have done too much killing and arson. You have to do something to mend the bridge." "That's right. Our club still has a special charity fund." An Longji smiled and said, "But in terms of generosity, we don't dare to compare with you. It's not easy for us to earn money, and all we earn is blood, sweat, and money. How can we compare to you? If you switch hands, you'll be able to earn hundreds of millions of dollars. You're so envious of us." The Galaxy investment company under Zhou Hao's command was now not only serving him privately, but also providing investment services for those acquaintances who were close to Zhou Hao. For example, the Zhao family, Lu Jinwu, Zheng Yingquan and Zheng Yingpei, as well as an Ai Yongxiao, Xiang Huaqiang, and An Longji. Because the investment of the Galaxy Investment Company was legal, everyone thought that Lu Jinwu and the Zhang family could help them make money, but no one could say anything about it. An Ai Yongxiao and the rest were now part of the Patriot gangs in the central government, and An Ai Yongxiao had a good relationship with Zhou Hao. However, the money they invested in the Galaxy was legal funds from legal companies. Zhou Hao was not stupid enough to throw a stone at his feet. If they invested in the Galaxy, the risk would be lower than other investment consultants, and the returns would be higher than theirs. Therefore, Xiang Huaqiang and An Longji admired Zhou Hao. Because they worked with the Galaxy, they more or less knew that the Galaxy's ability to make money was incredible. Zhou Hao talked and laughed with the 3 leaders of the underworld, but Liang Jiashu, who stood behind him, was silent like a cicada in the winter. When he saw the secretary of the finance department and the deputy director of the police department being so close to Zhou Hao, he was shocked. Xiang Huaqiang and the other 2 leaders were even more intimidating to the people in the entertainment industry. Liang Jiashu was even more surprised, especially when he found out that Xiang Huaqiang and An Longji's attitude towards Zhou Hao was not only affectionate, but also respectful. Liang Jiashu, who was standing quietly behind them, did not dare to make a sound. He guessed in his heart, "Who is our boss? He is simply killing both the black and the white." By the way, 5th brother, do you know why Xiao Yifu, old man, suddenly organized this charity gala? Zhou Hao asked Xiang Huaqiang. That guy would never let go of an arrow, and this gala invited almost all the famous people in Hong Kong. He should have some motive. Of course. And Ai Yongxiao said on Xiang Huaqiang's behalf, "I heard that the old man has been going to the headquarters of the Special Forces recently. He has been trying to get on the good side of Hong Kong and Macau. I'm afraid he wants to make some big moves." Now that your Asia Television Limited is fighting with him so fiercely, you have to be careful that he will target you. Zhou Hao only smiled at this. If Xiao Yifu was fighting with him openly in the television industry, it would be fine. But if Xiao Yifu wanted to use political means to deal with him, he definitely had the wrong idea. In terms of political power, Zhou Hao was not afraid of Xiao Yifu at all. Xiang Huaqiang said, I heard something about Xiao Yifu. He seems to want to set up a fund to reward those who have made great contributions to science, just like a Nobel Prize. The prize money is no less than a Nobel Prize. His enthusiastic relationship with the special chief and the Hong Kong and Macau office must be because of this. He hopes to get the support of the special regional government and even the central government. Zhou Hao touched his chin and thought of the very famous Xiao Yifu Award in his previous life. However, in Zhou Hao's previous life, the Xiao Yifu Award only appeared in 2003, and Xiao Yifu had started to make his move now, although it was possible that the Xiao Yifu Award in his previous life had been prepared for a long time. It was more likely that the Asia Television Limited had risen rapidly due to Zhou Hao's interference, which posed a huge threat to Wi-Fi. Therefore, the Xiao Yifu Award had appeared ahead of time. After the appearance of the Xiao Yifu Prize in his previous life, Xiao Yifu had won praise and reputation for himself in wireless, causing his international image and status to rise rapidly. The Xiao Yifu Prize was also known as the Eastern Nobel Prize. When Zhou Hao heard that Xiao Yifu was going to give the Xiao Yifu Award to the public ahead of time, he immediately thought that Xiao Yifu was aiming for the Asia Television Limited and himself, because in the past year, the Asia Television Limited had given their employees a raise twice, which was more than 10%. When their artistes received jobs from the outside world, the Asia Television Limited's commission would not be more than 50%, and their treatment would be much better than the Wireless Television Limited's. Furthermore, when the Asia Television Limited filmed television dramas, they would not work day and night. They would take the slow and meticulous route, so the actors would not be like the wireless artistes who worked for several days and nights without sleep. However, while slowing down the filming progress, the number of selfie dramas produced by the Asia Television Limited this year was no less than the number of wireless dramas. As a result, a large number of television producers and actors changed jobs from the wireless to the Asia Television Limited, fiercely poaching the wall of the wireless. On the other hand, the two I Have a Date with Zombies released by the Asia Television Limited over the past year, and traversing 4 seas after that, both obtained very good results. From the original viewership ratings that did not exceed 10 points, it suddenly rose to more than 20 points. It allowed Wi-Fi to face the threat of the Asia Television Limited directly. It also took out a few premiere dramas to compete with the Asia Television Limited. However, the Asia Television Limited, which had rarely had a chance of winning in the past, had a head-on battle with Wi-Fi this time. In the end, through the special gift broadcast during the Spring Festival, Pro Return Gige broke through 40 points of viewership and defeated Wi-Fi for the first time in the viewership war. Meteor Garden, which was still broadcasting, also set off a heatwave in Hong Kong. Wherever the F4 went, there would be tens of thousands of people. It also made the Youth Idol series become the mainstream of television dramas, and it successfully opened up the market for the youths. At the same time, the Asia Television Limited was broadcasting the 20 episodes of the teacher-student relationship, The Witch's Condition. Although the viewership was not as good as Meteor Garden, it had attracted a lot of attention in Hong Kong and the South China Pearl Triangular region. It had attracted the attention of the audience on the topic of The Witch's Condition. Whether society praised or downgraded The Witch's Condition, it had also earned the Asia Television Limited a lot of attention. On other programs, Millionaire that had caused Wi-Fi to worry so much had now rushed out of Asia. Every country had bought copyrights from Asia Television Limited and produced different versions of Millionaire, which had also made Asia Television Limited's name spread across the world. The following story of finding a home had also allowed Asia Television Limited to reach the peak in the field of humanities and records. It had obtained the general praise of the cultural community. In the face of the major movements of the Asia Television Limited, Wireless had made several adjustments to the program's arrangements to resist the Asia Television Limited's constant pressure, but they had always ended in failure. The plot was cliché, the actors were not accepted, and the vulgar issues of variety shows were deeply impeached by the audience. In the past, there were occasionally good works in Asia Television Limited that could pose a threat to Wireless, but every time, Wireless could resolve this threat with a wave of his hand. However, this kind of situation where he had been at a disadvantage for a long period of time had never happened before. Wi-Fi finally panicked. Fang Yihua had even kept 2 television monitors who had lost to the Asia Television Limited in the watching war. At this moment, Xiao Yifu held this thousands of starlight offering love, high profile, and invited half of the wealthy businessmen in Hong Kong to set up the Xiao Yifu Award. His intention was obviously to deal with the unstoppable Asia Television Limited. Zhou Hao frowned deeply. In his previous life, the Xiao Yifu Award was a very influential international natural science award. Although the interview time was short, it could quickly be known by the whole world and was praised by the scientific community of various countries. If it continued to develop in the long term, Xiao Yifu could become a famous figure in the history of the Nobel Prize. This also made Xiao Yifu, who was passionate about fame, very satisfied. In his previous life, Zhou Hao also agreed with Xiao Yifu's good deeds, but now, it was precisely because of the influence of the Xiao Yifu Prize. Zhou Hao was even clearer about the impact it could bring him. Once the Xiao Yifu Award successfully appeared in the world, Wireless, who had been at a disadvantage for the past year, would immediately rise to the top of the topic. Xiao Yifu would also be valued by the government because of this. Even if he was not as powerful as Zhou Hao in politics, Zhou Hao would be a lot more troublesome to deal with. This old fox. After figuring out what was going on, Zhou Hao could not help but curse Xiao Yifu in a low voice. No wonder he invited us here. This old man is clearly showing off. I didn't expect him to be this strong even though he is already so old. At this time, Zhou Hao saw Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing chatting with two elegant middle-aged women. When he saw the faces of the two women, he was surprised to see that they were Fang Yihua and one of the three treasures, Wang Mingquan. Hee, even the female boss of the wireless station has come out. Elder Liang, let's go and greet her. Zhou Hao smiled and walked over. Although Liang Jiashu was one of the elders on Wi-Fi, in the past, he was very wary of Fang Yihua's wrist. However, now that he was out of wireless world and Zhou Hao, who had the power to kill, was protecting him, Liang Jiashu was no longer afraid. He hurriedly followed Zhou Hao. Madam Xiao, long time no see. It has been a year since we last saw each other. When he came to Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing's side, Zhou Hao showed a friendly smile to Fang Yihua. Fang Yihua was slightly stunned when she saw Zhou Hao again. She felt that Zhou Hao was more mature and restrained compared to the time when he broke into the Xiao family because of Liang Xiaobing's matter. Fang Yihua looked deeply at Zhou Hao and felt that the fitting black suit made him look handsome. She thought, no wonder Liang Xiaobing was so loyal to him. Looking at the situation, even Su Lin, who was young but had extraordinary means, had a special relationship with him. 1. Haha, it has been a year since we last met. Mr. Zhou has become more mature and handsome. No wonder Xiaobing did not hesitate to abandon us for you. Fang Yihua smiled gracefully, but her words were sharp and sarcastic. She secretly ridiculed Liang Xiaobing for being ungrateful and abandoning her master to defect. Liang Xiaobing immediately understood the meaning of Fang Yihua's words. She was a straightforward person and was about to retort, but Su Lin, who was beside her, quietly pushed her hand and hinted at her not to be impulsive. Indeed. Zhou Hao smiled and said, Madam Xiao, you flatter me. Speaking of which, I still have to thank you and Sir Xiao. If it was not for the help of the two of you, I would not have had the chance to get to know Xiaobing. Also, you took care of Xiaobing. Xiaobing and I have been thinking about how to repay you for all these years. When she heard Zhou Hao's unrelenting words, Fang Yihua's eyes narrowed and her expression became gloomy for a moment before she quickly calmed down. In front of so many people, this charity gala was held infinitely. Of course, Fang Yihua would not openly fight with Zhou Hao. She could only use words to exchange blows. Although they had not seen each other since Zhou Hao had caused a ruckus in the Xiao family, Xiao Yifu and Fang Yihua knew that the person who bought and reorganized the Asia Television Limited was Zhou Hao. Only then did Xiao Yifu come back to his senses. It turned out that Zhou Hao wasn't talking nonsense when he said he wanted to sink the wireless carrier. He had actually put it into action, and he had really forced the wireless carrier to retreat one step at a time. Fang Yihua looked over and saw Zhou Hao standing behind her. Liang Jiashu, who was like a follower, narrowed his eyes and sneered, Oh, Brother Liang, aren't you the most experienced TV producer in Hong Kong? Sixth uncle and I thought that you had gotten a better development by leaving our wireless network. Why are you now a follower of someone else? She hated Liang Jiashu for colluding with the enemy and betraying the master. He even took away a large number of talents behind the scenes from wireless, including the pillar of the artist training class, Michael. Xiao Yifu was so angry that he almost had a heart attack, so she did not show any mercy to Liang Jiashu. Liang Jiashu was also a wily old fox. He did not get angry when Fang Yihua opposed him. Instead, he laughed and said, After I left the wireless, I did indeed have a better development. The platform that the boss and Miss Su gave me is much wider than before. Only now do I know that in the past, I really sat at the bottom of a well and watched the sky. The sky outside is even higher and farther. Besides, I'm willing to be the boss's follower. After all, being a lackey is still a person. It's much better than being someone else's dog in the past. I even have to worry about being cooked like a rabbit. Compared to Fang Yihua, even Zhou Hao, who was standing by the side, secretly sighed. Perhaps Liang Jiashu had suffered too much on the wireless. Now, he had become a god of slaughter the moment he erupted. Fang Yihua was also provoked by Liang Jiashu to the point that her face turned ashen. Her trusted confidant, Wang Mingquan, also immediately stood up for her mistress. He said coldly to Liang Jiashu, "Mr. Liang, in the past, we all respected you very much, but we never thought that we would have such respect for you. We have truly misjudged you. You have to know." In one sentence, when a person is doing something, the heavens are watching. What a good saying. If a person is doing it, the heavens are watching. Liang Jiashu still had a smile on his face. Back in the day, the three treasures of the wireless platform were so glorious. Unfortunately, such glory is hard to recreate now. Sister, seeing that we are friends, I will sincerely remind you that you should use Dudu as an example. Wang Mingquan's expression changed slightly when he heard Liang Jiashu's words. The Dudu that Liang Jiashu spoke of was Zhang Yuling, who was once one of the three treasures of the radio station. Previously, she had stolen the millionaire from the Asia Television Limited. No, she had even caused a lot of trouble for herself. In the end, she had attracted all the attention to Zhang Yuling. He had her act as a scapegoat. Finally, Zhang Yuling and another group of people had left the wireless and joined the Asia Television Limited. After being Zhang Yuling's competitor and friend for so many years, Wang Mingquan was also very dissatisfied with wireless's way of doing things. However, after Zhang Yuling's matter, wireless immediately consoled Wang Mingquan and Shan Dianxia, who were the only two treasures left, so that Wang Mingquan could choose to stay. Now that Liang Jiashu mentioned this matter again, it made Wang Mingquan worry about his future fate once again. Wireless never showed mercy to people who had no value. She was very clear about this. Wang Mingquan had a complicated look on his face, and before that, he had never thought of leaving the wireless. In her opinion, wireless was the Shaolin Temple in Hong Kong television. Its status was unshakable, and the Asia Television Limited's Wu Dang was just a fake. In the past, the Asia Television Limited had never been a match for wireless even before Zhou Hao took over. In fact, the Asia Television Limited was the #1 television station in Hong Kong, but at that time, Hong Kong still treated charging television as the mainstream. After the government launched the free TV, Wi-Fi took the opportunity to rise up and reinstall the wireless reception system for a month. From then on, Li-Fi's position with Wi-Fi was completely reversed, and Li-Fi did not turn the tables again. After that, Li, who had changed her name to Asia Television Limited, changed her hand a few times. When Lin Baixin took over and obtained the support of a large amount of funds, she was still struggling under the shadow of Wi-Fi. At that time, in order to defeat the wireless, the Asia Television Limited had poached a lot of producers, directors, and actors over and over again from the wireless, using a high salary to poach a large number of supervisors, directors, and actors. However, in the end, they did not achieve their intended goal. The people who had transferred to Asia Television Limited finally returned to Wi-Fi due to limited development. Even the original people of Asia Television Limited had switched jobs to Wi-Fi. Therefore, in recent years, if it wasn't for the fact that life was really difficult, wireless people would never go to the Asia Television Limited to make a living. Even if they decided to leave wireless, they wouldn't treat the Asia Television Limited as their own way out. In the eyes of Wang Mingquan, Zhang Yuling, and a few other seniors, the Asia Television Limited was like a crow's nest. As a phoenix, how could he live in a crow's nest? This situation had completely changed after Zhou Hao entered the Asia Television Limited. The wireless employees who had looked down on the Asia Television Limited were now rushing over to the Asia Television Limited like a flock of ducks, and they were doing very well. For example, the Liang Jiashu in front of her. As one of the three treasures of the wireless town, Wang Mingquan knew a lot of insider information. She was very clear about Liang Jiashu's situation in the wireless town. After Fang Yihua gained power, Liang Jiashu, who was one of the senior elders, was greatly ostracized. Zhang Lizhin, who quickly got to her position with Fang Yihua's support, opposed him and forced him to the edge of the cliff time and time again. Xiao Yifu, on the other hand, did not care about his situation. It finally led to Liang Jiashu leaving the Asia Television Limited with many people. In Wang Mingquan's opinion, Liang Jiashu was already at the end of his life. She was more optimistic about Zhang Lizhin, who was from the youth faction. She believed that Zhang Lizhin could bring new vitality and competition to wireless. However, traversing 4 seas, which had previously been broadcasted by Asia Television Limited, was very popular in Hong Kong. Tao Dayu and Tan Yaowen, who had originally been marginalized and left early on, had also made a big turnaround with this movie. Tao Dayu had even become the milk killer that the married women madly loved. Liang Jiaxu and Li Zhaoxi, who were responsible for the production of Traversing Four Seas, had become the most popular producers in Hong Kong, especially Liang Jiaxu, who had completely recovered his former glory and glory. He was no longer comparable to when he was on the wireless. Looking at Wang Mingquan's constantly changing expression, Liang Jiaxu was filled with the demeanor of an expert. He smiled faintly. "Sister, I know what sixth uncle and aunt are. You are still at the scene. Of course, everything will be fine, but if one day you—" Before Liang Jiaxu could finish, Fang Yihua gritted her teeth and whispered to Zhou Hao, "Mr. Zhou, your men are poaching wireless employees in front of me. This is too unreasonable. Don't tell me you don't care." Zhou Hao smiled and did not say anything. Su Lin, on the other hand, smiled reservedly at Fang Yihua. "What Madame Xiao said is not right. If Elder Liang is talking to Sister about the company's interests, we naturally have to take care of it. But as you can see, Elder Liang and Elder Sister's words just now were clearly just a conversation between friends. How can we interfere with their private lives?" Wang Mingquan immediately woke up when he heard the conversation between Fang Yihua and Su Lin. Even if he really had any intentions, he definitely could not reveal it in front of the boss. This would only make him suffer even more. So she quickly scolded Liang Jiaxu, "I don't want to work with a person with low moral character like you. I have been on the wireless for decades, and I will retire here in the future. This is worthy of sixth uncle's appreciation for me." Regardless of whether Wang Mingquan's words were sincere or not, at least he expressed his attitude to Fang Yihua, so Fang Yihua's expression eased up a little. Liang Jiaxu knew that he had achieved his goal, so he did not continue to pester her. He tactfully retreated behind Zhou Hao and was willing to be Zhou Hao's follower. He had grasped the right path of retreat and retreat. He had become the pawn of the boss once, and he could also adjust his position as his subordinate in time. He did not want to steal the boss's limelight at all. He silently saw Liang Jiaxu's action of advancing and retreating. Zhou Hao sighed with emotion in his heart. This Liang Jiaxu was really a rare talent. If he couldn't suppress him, he would be able to make a name for himself. However, if he used it well, he would definitely be a talented general. Xiao Yifu, that old man, really didn't know what was good for him. Even such a talented man was chased away. Fang Yihua naturally had a deep understanding of Liang Jiaxu. It was because she was afraid that Liang Jiaxu would be difficult to control and that he would one day threaten her authority over the wireless world. That was why she allowed her subordinate Zheng Lizhin to push Liang Jiaxu aside and drive him out of the wireless world. But now she saw that Liang Jiaxu was so respectful and obedient to Zhou Hao and Su Lin, the two young men. He did not act like he was taking advantage of his seniority on wireless and did not seem to be faking it. She could not help but feel shocked and afraid of Zhou Hao and Su Lin's way of controlling their subordinates. Sigh, actually, when it comes to Dudu, we are also very sad. Fang Yihua adjusted her emotions and said, "Because of her misleading, we accidentally stole Millionaire and hurt the relationship between our two TV stations. It is really not right. It's also fortunate that you can take her in. After all, we have been friends for many years. I will thank you on behalf of sixth uncle here." 0. When Zhou Hao and the others heard Fang Yihua's words, they could not help but admire the thickness of this woman's skin. Back then, it was clearly her and Xiao Yifu who deliberately wanted the copyright of Millionaire that fell into Zhou Hao's trap. In the end, she used Zhang Yuling as a scapegoat. Now with just a few words from her, it was as if the matter was completely Zhang Yuling's fault. It had nothing to do with them being wireless. Zhou Hao thought to himself, if Zhang Yuling heard Fang Yihua's words, she would probably strangle her to death even in front of so many people. Then he heard Fang Yihua ask with a smile, "Oh right, ever since Du left us, other than being a guest host in your Asia Television Limited's Millionaire, we haven't seen her in front of the camera for more than a year. Mr. Zhou, don't tell me you intentionally let her do the chores behind the scenes because she used to be on our side? That won't do. When it comes to television, you must have the capacity to accommodate people. Otherwise, it won't be a big deal." Zhou Hao was really going to laugh this time. Describing celebrities and employees transferred from other television stations had always been a bad habit on the wireless side. Fang Yihua, on the other hand, put Dai Li in her shoes. She had played the dark art to such an extent. Zhou Hao did not know whether he should look down on her or admire her. Mr. Zhou, you are still young. This kind of problem cannot be ignored. You have to know that this minute will affect the morale of the entire company." Fang Yihua saw that Zhou Hao was only blindly following the small details, so she kindly reminded him. In fact, on the wireless side, She had repeatedly used the matter of Zhang Yuling not being put in an important position by the Asia Television Limited to warn the employees and artistes below to prevent them from thinking of changing jobs. Su Lin answered Fang Yihua on Zhou Hao's behalf. Actually, Madam Xiao, you were right. We really transferred Sister Dudu away. Last year at the end of the year, we sent her to the Galaxy Satellite TV network in our country. Oh. Fang Yihua smiled sarcastically. That's hard. She is not good at speaking the national language. It will be hard for her to perform on the mainland. Actually, Sister Dudu doesn't need to deliberately learn Mandarin when she's there. Even if she shows up on the show, she can still speak in Cantonese. Su Lin replied with a smile. This time Fang Yihua's interest was really piqued. A sense of vigilance arose in her heart, but she smiled and said, "Oh, looks like Mr. Zhou and the rest have made a big move again? What program are you planning to make Dudu produce?" Su Lin did not directly answer her question and instead asked back. Your wireless Hong Kong Miss election this year has already been completed, right? Yes, the quota has already been filled. Fang Yihua smiled and said, I have personally gone to take a look. This year's candidate is Jieli. Her quality is very good, and her appearance and temperament are generally higher than the previous election. Oh, right. Doesn't your Asia Television Limited also have the election of the Young Miss of Asia? Will it be held this year? If you need help, we can send some people to help you. After all, we have a lot of experience in this field. Due to the weakness of Asia Television Limited in the past, the Asian Miss election was different from the wireless Hong Kong Miss election. It was not held every year, and its influence was far inferior to the Hong Kong Miss election. Sensing the ridicule in Fang Yihua's words, Su Lin did not get angry and smiled. This beauty pageant, we will still hold it this year. But it is not done by ourselves, and it is not only held in Hong Kong. Seeing Fang Yihua and Wang Mingchuan's puzzled expressions, Su Lin smiled faintly and said, This year, our Asia Television Limited will be collaborating with the domestic Galaxy Satellite TV to hold the first Gorgeous China beauty contest. In the face of the nationwide registration, all unmarried women under the age of 35 with legal nationalities of China can participate. Fang Yihua's expression changed when she heard Su Lin's words. Su Lin saw her reaction, but she remained unmoved and said, We originally wanted to reorganize the Asian Miss election, but Hong Kong is too small and Hong Kong has already returned to the motherland. Therefore, we decided to collabo. Gorgeous China? Listening to Su Lin patiently explain to her, Fang Yihua's heart was filled with gloom. In Hong Kong, the most famous beauty pageant was none other than the Wireless Television Limited's Hong Kong Young Miss election and the Asia Television Limited's Dragon Continent Young Miss election. As for the Asia Television Limited, they had never been able to compete with Wi-Fi before. Dragon Continent Young Miss, apart from a few successful contests, the rest could not be compared to the Hong Kong Young Mississippi. Therefore, this Asian Miss election would not be held every year in Asia Television Limited. It was as if it was held only once every year when one was in high spirits. It was not stable at all. Hence, the Hong Kong Miss election that was held every year was a one-of-a-kind event. It became the most representative pageant in Hong Kong. Moreover, it would attract the attention of many people in the city every time. However, Fang Yihua also understood that although the Asia Television Limited's beauty pageant was not a threat to wireless construct, it also made wireless lose the motivation to improve, which caused the quality of the Hong Kong Miss election in recent years to deteriorate. Especially because of the frequent black box operations in the competition and the serious counterfeiting situation, the champions of these few years were widely criticized. After the recent rise of the Asia Television Limited, Fang Yihua and the rest of the wireless upper echelons were worried that the Asia Television Limited would reorganize the Miss Asia. With the current strength of the Asia Television Limited, the Miss of Asia would be a huge threat to the Miss of Hong Kong, who was still in a slump. To prevent the Miss of Hong Kong from being defeated by the Asia Television Limited, Fang Yihua gritted her teeth and gave the order. This year's Hong Kong's Miss election was based solely on the strength of the contestants. It was to prevent all illegal operations. Because of this, she also offended a few sponsors who had the habit of praising the beauty. Furthermore, Fang Yihua also personally carried out the election this time. From the preliminaries to the semifinals, she personally came to the scene and strictly monitored the registrants and fiercely sifted through them. Therefore, in this year's election, whether it was appearance or cultural attainment, it was clearly a level higher than the previous years. But just as Fang Yihua was leading a group of powerful soldiers and generals, waiting for a tough battle with the Asia Television Limited, Su Lin told her that the Asia Television Limited would join hands with the Galaxy Satellite TV to jointly organize that Gorgeous China, which was indeed out of Fang Yihua's expectation. At this moment, after knowing the actions of the Asia Television Limited, Fang Yihua could not help but feel worried because she was very clear about the situation that the wireless was about to face. That's right, Hong Kong was the international metropolis, and also the cultural exchange point between the East and the West. But from a geographical and cultural point of view, Hong Kong was just a small piece of land. No matter how he chose, Hong Kong only had 6 million people, which was not even comparable to the population of Guangzhou. Furthermore, most of the people in Hong Kong were from the Cantonese region, and there were limitations to the characteristics of women. They could not be compared to the beauties from all over the country. Hence, comparing the Hong Kong Miss to the beauties chosen by the gorgeous China, who accepted the national registration, it was obvious who was better and who was worse. Fang Yihua originally thought that since the Asia Television Limited and her wireless competition were so intense, they would definitely compete with the wireless in the beauty contest. But she never would have thought that this time, Asia Television Limited did not limit the battlefield to Hong Kong. Their ambition was actually the entire China. Facing the elegant and calm Su Lin and Zhou Hao, Fang Yihua suddenly felt a sense of powerlessness. The plot that they had set up was too big and wide. Comparatively, it was too big. She had put in a lot of effort, and put in a lot of effort. The Hong Kong mist that she had personally set up was just like a small child's play. It was no wonder that Liang Jiashu only knew about it after he said that he had left the wireless. The sky outside was actually so high and far away. However, she, Fang Yihua, was not an ordinary person after all. Her determination was also incomparable to ordinary people. She quickly calmed her mind, and that graceful smile reappeared on her face. She said to Su Lin, "Gorgeous China? Is it like the Beauty and Flower City beauty contest in Guangzhou? But as far as I know, such a beauty pageant does not attract much attention in the country. After all, the atmosphere in the country is much more conservative than in Hong Kong." Zhou Hao smiled and said, "Madam Xiao, you're right. The Guangzhou's beauty has been held in Flower City for a few years, but it still hasn't caused a stir in the entire country. It's because they have come from nothing. They rely on themselves to touch stones and cross the river, so the development process is more difficult. However, I believe that domestic beauty pageant activities will be more and more noticed. As for Madam Xiao, you said that the atmosphere is conservative. Actually, the views of the domestic side have become much more open-minded. After all, our China has been restructured and opened. After so many years, it's not only the economy that has developed, but also people's thoughts have developed as well." Su Lin also said, "Furthermore, our gorgeous China, this time is not just for the beauty pageant. Our company has decided that the top 3 of Gorgeous China will be able to obtain the 3-year contract from the Polar Entertainment Media Group. It's not just the top 3. In the competition, as long as you have potential, our company is willing to nurture you." Hearing this, Fang Yihua could not help but be moved. Actually, to put it bluntly, Su Lin and the rest method was to sign a contract with Wireless and cultivate the Hong Kong, Mississippi. They would develop her into a wireless flower head. However, the attraction of wireless flowers to girls who had dreams of stars could not be mentioned in the same breath as the Polar North Star. Although Polar North Star had only been established for a short period of time, its rise in China was even faster and fiercer than Hong Kong. 0. The 2 movies that North Pole Star launched previously, Jingku Thorn the Duke of Qin and Seeking Firearms, had both been very successful in China. Not only had they gained a lot from the box office, but they had also made a name for themselves in public. Especially Jingku assassinating the Duke of Qin, which was also known as Qin Kai's other masterpiece after Farewell the King. As for the North Pole Star branch in Hong Kong, Seeking Entertainment, Dark War, which it had collaborated with Xiang Huaqiang's Star of China Film Company, had 6 awards for this year's Golden Film Awards. It also allowed Liu Dehua, who had acted, to finally obtain the title of King of the Silver Film Awards as he had wished. With this, the status of North Pole Star in the movie industry rapidly rose, and its limelight was unparalleled for a moment. Moreover, the few movies produced by North Pole Star had many newcomers who had just appeared on the screen for the first time through old people. Therefore, many young people and young girls with star dreams dreamed of entering North Pole Star. The 3-year contract that Su Lin and the others had promised to make for the Polar North Pole Star was too tempting for those people. Fang Yihua could imagine what kind of explosive scene it would cause when Gorgeous China started to promote. Zhou Hao smiled at this time. Sister Du Du has participated in a few Hong Kong Miss elections and has a lot of experience with them. So we sent her to the country to help prepare for Gorgeous China, and she will also be one of the members of the jury. The corner of Fang Yihua's mouth twitched. She forced a smile and said, You must have invited a lot of influential people in the circle to be judges for such a large-scale national beauty pageant, right? It's nothing. It's just the seniors who are giving you face. Mr. Liao and Mr. Wang Zhan also agreed to be our judges, Zhou Hao said with a smile. Hee, you actually managed to invite Mr. Liao and Brother Wang Zhan. Truly amazing. Fang Yihua smiled, but her heart was very sour because she had once invited Wang Zhan to be the judge of Hong Kong's Mississippi. Because Wang Zhan was a rare talent in Hong Kong. At the same time, he could reach the kind of person who was not perverted, dissolute, and not vulgar, but Fang Yihua was unable to convince him in the end. Also, that Liao, who was a renowned scholar in the world and had settled in Taiwan for a long time, was actually invited by Zhou Hao and the rest. Then he heard Zhou Hao say with a smile, in fact, the judges of our unparalleled China can't decide the final result of the competition because our company plans to collaborate with China. We will vote through text messages so that the audience in the country can choose their favorite beauty. Therefore, the judges of the competition only have the right to comment and guide the competition, and the decision is still in the hands of the entire country's audience. If that's the case, the beauty chosen will be worthy of her name. This plan was formulated by Zhou Hao using the voting method of the super female voice in his previous life. However, currently, there is only one company in China that controls the phone communications industry. China Communication was also very interested in this collaboration proposed by North Pole Star. In addition to the deep official background of North Pole Star, the cooperation between the two parties would naturally come to an end. Fang Yihua, however, was stunned by the information revealed by Zhou Hao's words. By voting for the results through a national vote, it could indeed give the winner the greatest persuasive power. The President of the United States was also basically chosen like this, not to mention the champion of a beauty pageant. Even in Hong Kong, where the communications industry was developing very quickly, they had never used this method to choose the Hong Kong Miss, because there were too many complicated preparations needed to be made, and it was very difficult to deal with it on wireless. On the other hand, the outcome of the competition was decided by the audience. How could the sponsors cheat on the contestant they liked? When she thought of this, even though Zhou Hao's Gorgeous China and the wireless Hong Kong Miss had not yet been held, Fang Yihua could already guess the final result. Whether it was the scale of the competition, the mode of competition, the quality of the contestants, or the audience, Hong Kong Miss was far from being a match for Gorgeous China. In comparison, Miss Hong Kong seemed to have chosen the most beautiful village girl from a small fishing village. Compared to her, the difference was like heaven and earth. I can't compare to her. Fang Yihua sighed in her heart. The Asia Television Limited isn't the only thing we have to face on Wi-Fi. There is also that terrifying giant behind the Asia Television Limited. Fang Yihua was thinking about the information about the company behind Asia Television Limited. She more or less knew a little about it. In fact, ever since Lin Baixin sold all the shares of the Asia Television Limited that he owned, many people in Hong Kong started to pay attention to the organization or people who bought over the Asia Television Limited. What most people knew was that the person who bought over the entire Asia Television Limited was a newly established media company in the country called North Pole Star. As the #1 competitor of the Asia Television Limited, every time the Asia Television Limited changed owners, wireless would pay close attention to them. This time was no exception. Especially after the reorganization of the Asia Television Limited, they had shown their powerful strength. They had beaten wireless until he was badly battered at the beginning. Xiao Yifu and his wife paid more attention to that company called North Pole Star. Although Xiao Yifu had started to focus on making connections in the country before he returned from Hong Kong, up until now, he could only rely on the Wireless Television Limited's coverage in the Pearl Triangle region of China to establish a preliminary friendship with the people here. As for the North, he was temporarily powerless. Through his friends in the country, Xiao Yifu learned that North Pole Star was a large media company. The field that it set foot in covered all aspects of entertainment media, including television, movies, records and magazines, and even the newly developed network. Apart from the Asia Television Limited, it also owned a large satellite TV, Galaxy Television, and 40% of the shares in Hongdian Film and Television City. It was the second largest shareholder in Hongdian, other than Hung Store Group. At first, Xiao Yifu and Fang Yihua suspected that this North Pole Star that had suddenly appeared was a state-owned enterprise. Because the central government had very strict control over public opinion media, there was no room for private television stations to survive. However, a British friend Xiao Yifu knew who had taken up a high position in government of Hong Kong before he returned told him that North Pole Star was a joint venture, and the shares were held by 3 companies. The first company was China's Great Wall Industrial Company, which accounted for 25%. The second was America's Glycos Trading Company, which accounted for 35%. The third was an investment company called Galaxy, which accounted for 40%. The British did not know much about Glycos Trading Company and Galaxy Investment Industrial Company, but they were very familiar with China's Great Wall Industrial Company. This was because it was a very important military company in China in terms of aerospace and rockets. It also held a very important position in the international arms market. In other words, although Polar North could be considered a private company, it also had a national component, and its official background was extremely deep. What about this Zhou Hao? What role did he play in it? Is he from the central government, or those two private companies? Fang Yihua kept guessing as she looked at the tall and handsome Zhou Hao in front of her. She felt that the most likely possibility was that Zhou Hao was the son of a great figure in the central government, the so-called Crown Prince Party. Thinking of Zhou Hao's possible identity, Fang Yihua's face gradually darkened. She thought in her heart, we clearly went to the central government to discuss with those leaders before we returned. We can continue to develop according to our own wishes after we return, and the central government will not interfere too much. But why is the central government controlling the Asia Television Limited to suppress us now? Are they really going to control Hong Kong's opinions? Fang Yihua's jumping thinking made her think very far away, and Zhou Hao and Su Lin naturally did not know about this. The shares of North Pole Star were indeed divided into 3 parts, but the American Glycos Trading Company was actually a puppet company that Zhou Hao used Galaxy to register in the United States. So Zhou Hao had 70% of the shares of North Pole Star. As for the 25% that Great Wall Industrial Company held, Zhou Hao had taken the initiative to give it to them. Because according to domestic policies, it was very difficult for civil television stations to develop. That was why Zhou Hao specially divided the shares into 3 parts under Zhao Yuqin's suggestion: Great Wall Industrial Company, Local Private Enterprise, Galaxy Investment, and Foreign Capital, Glycos, to obtain a relatively preferential policy. It also allowed Galaxy Satellite TV to finally obtain the right to land in the country. Furthermore, Great Wall Industrial Group was a military company just like Poly Group. Moreover, Great Wall Industrial Group was different from Poly Group. The military had a much stricter control over it. After all, she was producing sensitive aerospace technology. And in the Great Wall Industrial Corporation, the Zhao family faction was the biggest leading force. Therefore, 25% of the shares in North Pole Star was no different from giving it to the Zhao family. Ignoring Fang Yihua's random thoughts, Zhou Hao apologized and left. Maybe it was because he had drunk some drinks just now, but he was a little anxious now. Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing naturally would not follow him to the men's restroom, so they stayed at the venue to socialize with the celebrities from all walks of life. Maybe it was because they often held this kind of high-class gala, but the toilets in the wireless studio number 1 were very luxurious and could be compared to the ones in 5-star hotels. Zhou Hao walked into one of the cells and settled it. Just as he was halfway there, he heard people coming in from outside. Judging from the footsteps, it should be 2 people. These Chinamen are so d***mn troublesome. We have always played impromptu songs, but now they want us to play according to their list. How boring. One of them cursed in English. At the same time, there was the sound of water flowing. He was clearly pissing. Zhou Hao, who was in the toilet, felt that the voice was very familiar. He recalled it a little and remembered that it was the lead singer of the music group he met on the plane, Jonathan's voice. However, he had talked to him in broken Mandarin at that time, so Zhou Hao was not used to hearing him speak English now. Stop complaining. Just bear with it for a while. This television station spent a lot of money to invite us to perform. If we offend them, the company will not let us off. The other person spoke in English too, but his voice was calmer than Jonathan's. He could tell that this person was good at controlling his emotions. Jonathan said, "William, you are the drummer in our band. You should be the most passionate. Why don't you have any anger, bookworm? This is not our rock and roll style. I just got myself a female celebrity. Her name seems to be Flora. She is the actress from the television station that invited us to perform. Although she isn't very beautiful, she is very coquettish. Do you want me to let her give you joy? I guarantee that you'll be able to ignite your anger." After saying that, Jonathan started laughing lewdly. The one called William said, "You've only been in Hong Kong for a day, and you've already hooked up with him. You're indeed worthy of being our band's artiste hunter. However, I appreciate your good intentions. I still like to do it myself." "Oh right, didn't you tell us before that you like that female singer called Vivian? Why are you messing with someone else now?" "I'm only using that Flora to quench my thirst. It's a one-time use item that can be discarded after it's used up." Jonathan did not care and said, "Vivian is my ultimate goal. Did you see her just now? TSK. As expected of Vivian, she is much more beautiful in real life than in the mirror. Especially that kind of style. I can't stand it when I see it from afar. I really don't dare to think about how I will make her fall in love with me. I think she has a man by her side. Could he be her boyfriend? Jonathan said disdainfully. I think he is just an old man with a stinky body. Even if he is Vivian's boyfriend, I don't believe that with Jonathan's charm, I can't take him away from me. After washing his hands, Jonathan and William left. Zhou just came out of the toilet. He had a bitter smile on his face, thinking that this Jonathan really did not know when to advance and when to retreat. When he returned to the venue, the gala hadn't officially started yet. Those famous giants were still chatting in groups of 3 to 5. Although there were many socialites and artistes at the gala, and they were all dressed up in fancy fashion, their appearance and temperament could not be compared to Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing. Su Lin Liang Xiaobing's evening dress was simple and generous, perhaps in terms of extravagance. It could not be compared to others. But when they wore it, it could display the most beautiful side, making them the most eye-catching beauties in the audience. Although many of the people present did not go forward to chat with them, they kept peeking at them. When Zhou Hao came out, he saw 2 foreign men in front of Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing. They were indeed Jonathan, and the other one should be William, who was in the toilet. Beside Jonathan stood a tall and slim woman from China. He really found Xiaobing. Zhou Hao shook his head and smiled. He walked over. Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing were both very good at English. Even if Jonathan did not know how to speak Mandarin, it would not be a problem for them to communicate. When Zhou Hao walked over, Jonathan was praising Liang Xiaobing's beauty. This fellow had been living in flowers for a long time, and his mouth skills were very good. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was glib-tongued. Those flowery words came out of his mouth. However, Liang Xiaobing had always maintained a reserved and polite face with a smile. She was completely immune to Jonathan's tricks of deceiving girls. William looked to be around 30 years old. He was taller than Jonathan, and his facial features were not that delicate. He was a little rough, and his blue pupils had a profound taste. He should be around 30 years old. He should be the kind of person who had experienced a lot. He did not say anything like Jonathan. Instead, he elegantly chatted with Su Lin. He was like a gentleman in Bin Bin. What are you talking about? Why are you so happy? How, you're back? Liang Xiaobing's smile immediately became brighter when she saw Zhou Hao. It was completely different from the smile she had when she faced Jonathan. Jonathan was the one who felt the changes in Liang Xiaobing's smile the most. When he first saw her smile from the bottom of her heart, he felt as if he was floating in the clouds. He thought that he had finally moved the beauty in front of him, but he suddenly realized that she did not call him by his name. After regaining his senses, Jonathan immediately realized that Liang Xiaobing's sincere smile wasn't directed at him. Even her gaze wasn't on him at all. Jonathan couldn't help but follow Liang Xiaobing's gaze and look over. He saw Zhou Hao smiling at him. He was stunned for a moment, then he pointed at Zhou Hao with his mouth wide open. It's you? Why are you here too? Mr. Jonathan, we meet again. Zhou Hao was very polite, but Jonathan could feel the coldness in his bones. It was the coldness hidden behind his smile that kept people away from him. When they greeted each other, Liang Xiaobing did not pay attention to Jonathan anymore. She went back to Zhou Hao's side without any hesitation and held his arm. Su Lin also stood next to Zhou Hao, looking like Zhou Hao was the leader. Seeing the situation in front of him, Jonathan was really surprised. He suddenly remembered that the woman who picked Zhou Hao up at the airport was very similar to Liang Xiaobing, and he didn't really care about it at that time. Now, it seemed that the woman was clearly Liang Xiaobing. His eyes moved back and forth between Zhou Hao and Liang Xiaobing. Liang Xiaobing was very beautiful tonight. She wore a light green long dress that made her look like a fairy. Compared to her usual innocent and lively image on TV or in advertisements, she was showing a different kind of charm at this time. It was a kind of charm that only mature women who had been nourished by love would have. It made her look even more charming. Just now, when she was facing Liang Xiaobing at a close distance, Jonathan actually had a feeling that his heart was beating faster like his first love. Zhou Hao's appearance today was also very different from the day he was on the plane. He wore a simple suit that made him look even more handsome and tall. He did not seem to be out of tune with this high-end evening party at all. You. Jonathan's thoughts could not keep up. Seeing the intimacy between Liang Xiaobing and Zhou Hao, the two of them were obviously not as simple as ordinary friends. However, on the plane that day, although Jonathan guessed that Zhou Hao was not an ordinary family and joked that he wanted to introduce Liang Xiaobing to him, he did not expect that his relationship with Liang Xiaobing was far more intimate than his. At this moment, Jonathan felt that his face was red and hot. More than that, He was annoyed and jealous of Zhou Hao. He was angry that Zhou Hao did not tell him about his relationship with Liang Xiaobing in the morning and deliberately made him embarrassed. At the same time, he was jealous that he could get the favor of Liang Xiaobing, a top-quality woman. "Sir, it's nice to meet you. My name is William. You are a friend of Miss Su and Miss Liang, right?" On the other side, William was much calmer than Jonathan. He extended his right hand to Zhou Hao elegantly. In fact, Zhou Hao had not paid much attention to Jonathan from the beginning. In Zhou Hao's eyes, he was just a small figure who had achieved success in a short period of time. Forget it. On the contrary, the low-profile William beside Jonathan could attract Zhou Hao's attention. He held William's hand and said with a smile, "Hello, Mr. William. My name is Zhou Hao. Nice to meet you." William's words and actions did not seem like a member of a rock band. Zhou Hao felt that in this party, he was more like a famous gentleman than others. He had the temperament of an ancient European noble. In fact, through their conversation, Zhou Hao found that William was experienced and knowledgeable. He had a deeper understanding of many fields. Once he talked about what Zhou Hao was good at, he would immediately restrain himself and leave the opportunity to Zhou Hao. It made people feel comfortable talking to him, and it was easy to get close to him. No wonder he could talk to Su Lin so well just now. At the same time, Zhou Hao intuitively felt that this William was not as simple as he looked. He even gave Zhou Hao the feeling that he was like a hidden bomb that would explode at any time. Zhou Hao had never neglected his intuition. So on one hand, he was very friendly and chatted with William. On the other hand, he was very curious about him. He secretly decided that when he went back, he would let people feel the bottom of this love music orchestra. William and Zhou Hao and Su Lin had a great time chatting, but Jonathan could not butt in on the literary, economic, and other things they talked about. He could only talk to William occasionally, pretending to know something, but he was very depressed in his heart. "Vivian, your necklace is very beautiful. It must be given to you by this Mr. Zhou, but this sapphire doesn't really match you. It seems to be a little too small and not generous enough." The woman beside Jonathan smiled at Liang Xiaobing. This woman should be the Flora that Jonathan had mentioned to William before. Zhou Hao looked at this tall woman. He saw that when she was talking to Liang Xiaobing, she was unconsciously touching the diamond necklace on her neck. It seemed that the diamond was bigger than the sapphire on Liang Xiaobing's neck. It reflected a dazzling light under the light. Zhou Hao vaguely recognized this woman. She was one of the girls who had been in charge of Wi-Fi for the past few years. However, in terms of appearance, this Flora could not even compare to the previous Liang Xiaobing. In terms of acting skills, she was not much better than Liang Xiaobing. However, she was able to suppress Liang Xiaobing from being praised by Wi-Fi. Therefore, Zhou Hao could not help but guess. Was there some kind of inside story? Looking at this Flora, it was definitely not pretty. At most, it could only be described as not ugly. Other than being tall, there was nothing else worthy of praise. At this time, there was even a fake smile on her face. It was clearly mocking Liang Xiaobing that the sapphire necklace was not as dazzling as her diamond necklace. 2. She could only hear her laughing. "This diamond necklace was given to me by the company. It is the latest model of Liufu jewelry this year. It's worth more than 2 million. Zhou Hao and the others, who were originally friendly and harmonious, immediately disappeared after being disturbed by this Flora. Zhou Hao, Su Lin, and the rest simply did not want to lower themselves to his level. Liang Xiaobing also did not get entangled with her. She just followed her words and said, "Yeah, your diamond necklace is really beautiful. It proves that wireless values you very much. Of course, I have filmed it closely this year and next year. I'm afraid I don't even have much time to sleep." Flora smiled. Zhou Hao shook his head in his heart when he saw how successful she was. He could tell that Flora was actually very jealous of Liang Xiaobing, because the current Liang Xiaobing had long gotten rid of the shackles of television and became the hottest singer in Asia. Her fame was not inferior to the current popular F4 in the country. How could a little flower like her compare to her? So she was jealous, especially when Liang Xiaobing was still on the wireless. She was already a wireless flower girl. In the past, she looked down on Liang Xiaobing, so how could she bear to let Liang Xiaobing, who was once under her, achieve such an achievement? The reason why she spared no effort to boast about herself was to prove that she was not worse than Liang Xiaobing. Zhou Hao and the others did not lower themselves to the level of Flora. William could not help but say, "The sapphire on Vivian's necklace is an extremely precious natural blue gem. It is very difficult to buy it in the market now. This sapphire is already very expensive. This necklace was made by the chief designer of Tiffany, Paloma Picasso. Palomar Picasso is the successor of Tiffany, after Sloboji, the most outstanding jewelry designer. Many European aristocrats and Hollywood superstars would love to see her design jewelry. He looked deeply at the blue sapphire on Liang Xiaobing's neck that was not flamboyant but clear and deep. He said slowly, I estimate that the value of this sapphire necklace from Vivian's is at least $5 million to $30 million US dollars. Flora and Jonathan both took a deep breath. As Americans, Jonathan knew what $30 million meant. It was almost all the money he had earned since the music band became popular, and it was the income from the tax that had not been taken away by the management company. Liang Xiaobing actually put it on her neck just like that, and Flora was even more surprised. The diamond necklace that she was wearing right now could not even be compared to the sapphire necklace. And this diamond necklace wasn't hers, either. It was just that the wireless had lent it to these girls to keep up the scene. After the party ended, they still had to return it to the wireless. This time, Flora's heart was filled with jealousy, especially when she saw the indifferent expression on Liang Xiaobing's face. It was clear that she was used to those luxurious jewelry that easily cost tens of millions of dollars. Also, the sapphire necklace on Liang Xiaobing's neck already had such a big background. The teardrop-shaped ruby necklace on Su Lin's neck must also be worth a fortune. However, Flora did not dare to ask anymore, lest she humiliated herself again. I didn't think that William is also an expert in jewelry. Zhou Hao smiled at William. In fact, the jewelry Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing were wearing today was bought by Wang Zhongjuan and Wang Zhonglei from Tiffany. As for that Paloma Picasso, Zhou Hao had never known him. William smiled and said, It's not that I'm an expert, but the necklaces worn by the two ladies are too famous. Zhou Hao, why are you here? As they were chatting, they suddenly heard an old voice coming from the side. When Zhou Hao heard this voice, he frowned even before he saw the person. Then he turned around and smiled at the person who spoke. Great uncle, you were also invited to this charity gala? Zhou Qiyao was a famous tycoon in Hong Kong. Of course, he couldn't be compared with He Hongxin and Lin Buixin, but he was still better than them. He was invited by Xiao Yifu. Originally, because of Zhou Ziyi's matter, Zhou Qiyao was not in the mood to participate in this charity gala. However, he also thought that those who attended this gala were all people who were not rich, but rather noble. If he wanted to get Zhou Ziyi out of prison through the special regional government, he would need the help of these high-ranking officials and giants. That was why he came to attend the gala. He also brought his son, Zhou Lipo, and his daughter-in-law, Lu Shuyi. Father, Sir Xiao really has a lot of face. Look, many wealthy people have come to Hong Kong. Even Secretary Xing and his brother are representing the government. More than 40 years old. Zhou Lipo looked around the venue and saw the big shots in the business and political circles. He was more than 40 years old, but he was still young. Lu Shuyi, who still had her charm, also said, Father, if we can ask Sir Xiao for help, the special regional government should agree to let us release Ji from the mainland. She was Zhou Ziyi's mother. Ever since she was young, she had been very obedient to Zhou Ziyi, and she felt the most heartache for her son. The day Zhou Qiyao returned to Hong Kong and told her that Zhou Ziyi was sentenced to death in Siang City, she fainted on the spot. Zhou Qiyao looked at Xiao Yifu, who was being supported by a few wireless managers. He frowned and said, Xiao Yifu, that old B***starred, always can't get up early without any benefits. He definitely won't help us for no reason. Besides, we are toys. He doesn't have any projects to cooperate with us. He might not agree to it. What about Director Zhang? Lu Shuyi didn't give up. Director Zhang is the most popular candidate in the police force. He is also a member of the police force. He should be able to talk to the local police. How about asking him for help? Just say that our Ziyi is a Hong Kong resident. He should be transferred back to Hong Kong. Zhou Lipo shook his head and sighed. That's even more impossible. We don't have any relationship with the Zhang family, and Ziyi's matter has already escalated. Because of this, even the central government has to reevaluate the attitudes of foreign merchants. Ziyi is also at the tip of this storm. You also said that Director Zhang wants to compete for the position of director. Why would he get into trouble for himself at this critical moment? Then what should we do? Are we just going to do nothing and let Ziyi suffer in the prison on the continent? The prison on the mainland is much darker than in Hong Kong. I heard that the prisoners inside are often tortured to death by the prison officers and the prison officers. How can we, Ziyi, endure such suffering? Lu Shuyi said anxiously. She looked like she was about to cry. Zhou Lipo glared at her. Don't cry in front of so many people and embarrass our family. Zhou Ziyi was his son, so how could he not care? But according to Zhou Qiyao, Zhou Ziyi was too unlucky this time. A small traffic accident had caused a stir in the whole country, and no one dared to stand up for him. Just now, He and Zhou Qiao went to look for the wealthy and high-ranking officials who were usually close to each other. He wanted to ask them for help, but because of this domestic storm, the government's attitude towards Hong Kong merchants quietly changed. Many of the wealthy businessmen in Hong Kong who had invested in Hong Kong had suffered quite a loss. Thus, they hated Zhou Qiao and even the entire Zhou family. They let the father and son have a taste of the coldness and warmth of human relationships. Zhou Qiao let out a long breath and said sadly, "The worst plan is to wait 1 or 2 years. After this crisis is settled, we will think of a way to get Ziyi out. But in prison, even 1 day is hard, let alone 1 or 2 years?" Lu Shui said, "Ziyi has a cold foundation. How can he bear the food in prison?" "Enough." Zhou Lipo lowered his voice and scolded his wife. "Is it useful for you to cry here? If you continue to do this, get the hell out of here and go home. Don't disgrace our Zhou family here. Do you think our family is not annoying enough?" Hearing Zhou Lipo's scolding, Lu Shui immediately held back her tears and lowered her head, not daring to make a sound. At this time, Zhou Qiao inadvertently saw Zhou Hao, who was with Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing in the distance. It was different from when he was in Xiang City. Today, Zhou Hao was dressed in a suit and shoes and looked elegant. No matter how one looked at it, he didn't look like a middle school student. He was even more generous and proper than those young masters and brothers in the venue. At first, Zhou Qiao thought he had seen wrongly. He rubbed his eyes and looked carefully again. Only then did he confirm that it was indeed Zhou Hao. "Dad, what's wrong?" Zhou Lipo asked when he noticed Zhou Qiao's unusual behavior. "That person over there seems to be Zhou Hao." "Zhou Hao? Oh, is that Zhou Liren's son?" Zhou Lipo smiled. "He seems to be my nephew." "Huh, wait, why is that Zhou Hao here?" "Dad, are you seeing things?" Zhou Lipo had never seen Zhou Hao before. He had never taken any of his relatives seriously. His sense of superiority made him feel that he was from a completely different world from those so-called relatives. The guests invited to this charity banquet were all either rich or expensive. Zhou Hao was just an ordinary family in the country. Why would he appear? Zhou Qiao glanced at his son. "Although I am old, I do not have symptoms of dementia." He looked back at Zhou Hao and said to himself, "But the 2 women beside him, one of them seems to be a very famous singer recently, and the other one is very familiar. Yeah, I think I've seen them somewhere before." At this moment, Lu Shui spoke. "I recognize her. Her name is Su Lin. She seems to be from Hangzhou. She is the current CEO of Asia Television Limited. She was the one who led the Asia Television Limited to beat up Wi-Fi until she was unable to fight back. Those magazines all say that she is the new generation of Hong Kong television queen after 6th Aunt Fang Yihua." The CEO of the Asia Television Limited? Zhou Qiao and Zhou Lipo both looked puzzled. When the Asia Television Limited was purchased, the entire Hong Kong was in an uproar. Zhou Qiao and Zhou Lipo were the same. If they were not honest men, they would not be able to avoid the common disease of rich people, lecherous men. They had also kept some female celebrities, so they had some understanding of Hong Kong's entertainment industry. Therefore, even though they didn't have any business in the media industry, they still paid attention to some news. The female celebrity that Zhou Lipo was keeping a mistress now had told him more than once that she wanted to transfer to the Asia Television Limited. She had also secretly looked for people from the Asia Television Limited, but they knew that her reputation was not good, so they did not agree to transfer to the Asia Television Limited. She even asked Zhou Lipo to help her get in through the back door and let her enter the Asia Television Limited. Later on, Zhou Lipo did look for one of the higher-ups of the Asia Television Limited. But what surprised him was that the people from the Asia Television Limited who used to be respectful to wealthy people like him would agree to all of their requests. Now, they had become strong-willed. They even said that everything in the Asia Television Limited was regulated according to the rules and regulations, and that they could no longer rely on their connections to get in through the back door. Zhou Lipo originally thought that the person was deliberately perfunctory to him, but not long after, the Asia Television Limited sued a few managers who had betrayed the company's interests and were suspected of commercial crimes to the court and sent them to prison. Among them was that person. Only now did Zhou Lipo know that the current boss of the Asia Television Limited was completely different from the previous boss, Lin Baihong. He was ruthless, treating the employees below to the point of submitting to him. Why is the CEO of Asia Television Limited with Zhou Liren's son? Could it be that they knew each other in the past? Zhou Lipo asked curiously. He didn't know much about Zhou Hao. The only thing he knew was that the Zhou Hao Zhou Qiao mentioned was Zhou Liren's son. It's useless to make wild guesses here. Let's go and take a look. Zhou Qiao narrowed his eyes and took the lead to walk over. When they approached Zhou Hao, Zhou Qiao and the other two happened to hear William say that Liang Xiaobing's necklace was worth $20 to $30 million, and it seemed like it was given to them by Zhou Hao. Although Zhou Qiao was a billionaire with 2 billion USD, jewelry worth tens of millions of USD was not something that could be sold easily, let alone Zhou Hao, whom they had never taken seriously. When Lu Shuyi heard William's words, she subconsciously reached out and covered the pearl necklace on her neck. This pearl necklace was a piece of jewelry from Cartier, and it was worth $3 million. But this was already the best jewelry she had. Today, it was also because she was attending this charity banquet, which was full of celebrities, that she deliberately wore it. Granduncle, you were also invited to attend this charity banquet? Zhou Hao's words brought Zhou Qiao and the other two back to their senses. They saw Su Lin, Liang Xiaobing, Jonathan, and William looking at them. Zhou Qiao slightly raised his head and said in a senior tone, "Yes, such a charity gala must be attended 2 or 3 times a month. I didn't want to come personally, but Sir Xiao personally called, so he had to give him a reward no matter what. What about you? When did you come to Hong Kong? Why didn't you pay us a visit?" In fact, Xiao Yifu didn't even call him personally. For a wealthy businessman like Zhou Qiao, Xiao Yifu only sent an invitation. Zhou Qiao was sure that Zhou Hao wouldn't really be able to talk to a wealthy person like Xiao Yifu, so he deliberately exaggerated his position in Xiao Yifu's eyes. Zhou Hao smiled and said, "I just came here 2 days ago. I was planning to visit you two in the next 2 days. These two must be uncle and aunt. Hello, both of you." Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing saw that these three were Zhou Hao's elders and quickly greeted them with the attitude of a junior. As a member of Hong Kong's socialite circle, Lu Shuyi knew Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing's status. Su Lin was the new generation's TV queen. Not to mention, Liang Xiaobing also had a very high position in the eyes of those socialites who thought highly of themselves. She was completely different from other female celebrities. Just as Zhou Qiao was about to say something to Zhou Hao, however, someone was calling from the other side. Zhou Hao said, "Xiao Hao, the banquet is about to begin. Everyone is here. Come over quickly." Zhou Qiao looked over and saw that the person who called Zhou Hao was Zheng Yingquan, whom he didn't dare to talk to before. "Mr. Zhou, since the gala is about to start, let's go back and prepare for the performance." William shook hands with Zhou Hao again. "If there is a chance, do you want to have a drink?" Zhou Hao smiled. "Sure, there will definitely be a chance." Zhou Qiao and Zhou Lipo saw that Zheng Yingquan took the initiative to invite Zhou Hao to join them. Zhou Qiao could not help asking Zhou Hao, "Zhou Hao, you know Secretary Zheng?" "Yes, Uncle Quan and Uncle Pei treated me quite well." Zhou Hao pretended to know nothing about Zhou Qiao and the others' thoughts and smiled. Uncle, Aunt, let's go first. You guys can do whatever you want. I'll pay a visit to the mansion in the next 2 days." After saying that, Zhou Hao and Su Lin, Liang Xiaobing, walked to Zheng Yingquan's side. Looking at their backs, Zhou Lipo said to Zhou Qiao, "Dad, what did he call Secretary Zhang and Director Zheng just now? Uncle Quan? Uncle Pei? Could it be that Zhou Liren and those two from the Zheng family are good friends?" "I don't know. When I went to Xiang City previously, I have never seen Zhou Liren. Even Yin Tong is not here." Zhou Qiao narrowed his eyes and said, "I heard from Zhou Lichang that Zhou Liren is a hoodlum who does not do proper work. He has lived for more than half of his life and has achieved nothing. As for Yin Tong, I have not heard of her doing any business. But looking at Zhou Hao's current state, his family background should be very good. And to be able to attend this banquet, it is impossible without an invitation." Lu Shuyi, who was beside him, had an angry expression. "That Zhou Hao is too rude. He just left us elders here and didn't invite us over. How rude. Then you should dare to go over." Zhou Qiao sneered at his daughter-in-law and said, "Take a look at what kind of people are sitting in their seats. Xiao Yifu's 2 in-laws, the Zhang brothers, the director of the Guang administration, and the eldest son of Lu and Li Zhaoji, Li Jiajia. Which one of them isn't one of the top figures in Hong Kong society?" Zhou Lipo and Lu Shuyi immediately looked over when they heard this. Indeed, they saw that the people sitting in the seats were all very important people, not to mention the high-ranking officials, but the other merchants. Every one of them was a billionaire with a net worth of more than 10 billion. The assets controlled by the companies under their name were even more than 100 billion. This business of theirs, which was only worth a few billion, could not even enter the eyes of others. Then what exactly is going on? How can Zhou Hao sit with those people at the head seat? Zhou Lipo murmured, "Go and find out immediately. If not, we can ask him when he comes to visit us." Zhou Qiao snorted coldly. "I think he doesn't care about us elders at all. I'll teach him well on behalf of his parents." After that, they returned to their seats that fit their status, but they would still look over at Zhou Hao. Furthermore, on Zhou Hao's side, he originally did not think that he would sit at the main seat. However, since Zhang Yingquan had called him over, he did not decline and brought Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing along. This was also the second time Zhou Hao had met Xiao Yifu. Zhou Hao originally thought that Xiao Yifu would be angry to the point of entering the hospital after his Hong Kong Film Awards ceremony was taken away by the Asia Television Limited. After that, he would be facing wave after wave of attacks from the Asia Television Limited. He should be physically and mentally exhausted. However, at this moment, Xiao Yifu in front of him was full of energy and vigor. He was even more robust than when he saw him a year ago. This old man can't be the type of person who gets stronger and stronger when he meets someone, right? Zhou Hao was cursing in his heart because some people would indeed erupt with an astonishing fighting spirit and combat strength in front of a powerful opponent, turning the pressure into motivation. Wireless dominated the Hong Kong television industry. After so many years, Xiao Yifu, who had no opponents, appeared to have lost all his fighting spirit. The so-called invincible was the loneliest, just like the Dugu Qiubai under Jin Yang's pin, who was depressed because he could not find his opponent. Although they were enemies, Zhou Hao still admired Xiao Yifu in his heart. I didn't expect that I would help Asia Television Limited up and awaken this old man's combat strength. This old man is really not an easy opponent. Sure enough, after seeing Zhou Hao, Xiao Yifu did not mock him like the villain Ming Dynasty. Instead, he smiled generously. Little brother, long time no see. Thinking back to that day, it was like yesterday. Zhou Hao thought to himself, someone who can achieve such an achievement is indeed extraordinary. He is not someone ordinary people can compare with. He smiled at Xiao Yifu Bin and said, "That's right, Sir Xiao. Compared to the last time we met, you are also much more energetic." He. The waves in the Yangtze River pushed the waves in the past. When I met you that day, I did not expect you to have such great achievements today. Young people should not be underestimated. The thin Xiao Yifu let out a heroic laugh. We, the people of China, need a young man like you to be able to bring the prestige of our country to the whole world. Sir Xiao, you flatter me, Zhou Hao said modestly. After talking to Xiao Yifu a few times, Zhou Hao could not help but sigh. This was a worthy opponent. Scary, fearful, and respectable. For such an opponent, winning was a proud achievement for one's life. Even if he lost, he would still be convinced even if he lost. 0. Xiao Yifu had been able to dominate Hong Kong TV industry for more than 30 years. Whether it was the business giant Lin Baixin or Lu Changel, who was also a media tycoon, they could not escape defeat after entering the Asia Television Limited. It did not make sense. As the saying goes, there is no business and no evil. Xiao Yifu was definitely not a kind person. Zhou Hao did not have a good impression of him either, but he also felt that this was an opponent worthy of respect. In comparison, Fang Yihua was still a woman. No matter if it was her bearing or her wrists, they were much worse than Xiao Yifu. It was no wonder that she was beaten back by Su Lin. Zhou Hao gave Su Lin a look. Su Lin and his feelings were interlinked. She naturally understood that Zhou Hao wanted her to pay more attention to Xiao Yifu. She also felt a chill in her heart. She thought that in the future, she would need to be more careful when competing with wireless people. In the same seat as Zhou Hao, Xiao Yifu did not talk to him about those things related to television. Instead, he told Zhou Hao a lot about his experiences and knowledge. He taught Zhou Hao his life experiences like an elder, which made Zhou Hao puzzled and benefited a lot from it. At this time, Zhou Hao also greeted the other distinguished guests at the same table. After Zhang Yingquan's introduction, Zhou Hao found out that the man in his 40s was an ordinary-looking man. His father was actually the president of Hengji Group, Li Zhaoji, who was called Stock God of Asia. This man was Li Zhaoji's eldest son. The Li family was one of the top 3 wealthy families in Hong Kong. Their family's wealth exceeded 100 billion Hong Kong dollars, and they were worthy of being called a giant. Li Yingjie was a low-key person. Although he had helped Li Zhaoji manage his family's business a long time ago, he rarely appeared in front of the media. Compared to the little Superman Li Zikai, who was also a super-rich second generation, he was the complete opposite. Li Yingjie was also very curious about Zhou Hao, who he had never met before. This was because he was invited to the main seat of Xiao Yifu's family, and there were 2 women who were currently the most popular in Hong Kong, Su Lin and Liang Xiaobing. He knew that this young man called Zhou Hao was definitely not simple. In particular, the Zhang brothers and the special regional government were very protective of him, which made Li Jiajie very interested in Zhou Hao's background. However, after many times of testing, Zhou Hao did not reveal any clues. The Zhang brothers and Xiao Yifu also kept their mouths shut about Zhou Hao's identity as if they had made an agreement. Su Lin, who was standing beside Zhou Hao, was even more vigorous in her Tai Chi fist. It was so smooth that even the Li family's Jie could not touch it. In the end, he could only give up and decided to find someone to inquire about it after he returned. Compared to Li Jiawei, Zhou Hao was more interested in another VIP. This person was the chairman of the Hong Kong media company called Big Lu, Aimguard, Lu Wanhong. He was reputed to be the most powerful stock market sniper in Hong Kong. Similar to what Zhou Hao had seen in the newspapers and news in his previous life, Lu Wanhong was an average-looking, short, and fat middle-aged man. People who did not know the inside story would only think that he was an ordinary citizen when they saw him. They would never have thought that he was an ordinary citizen. He was a super rich man who controlled hundreds of billions of assets. The reason Zhou Hao paid attention to this person was not only because of Lu Wanhong's unique ability in the stock market, but also because his son, Lu Mingwei, married Wang Shijuan in his previous life. When Wang Shijuan came to Hong Kong the last time, she accidentally found out that Zhou Hao had another woman by his side. She was unable to accept it and ran out. In the end, it was Zhou Hao who played a song in front of the camera, Love Me Don't Go, and only managed to chase Wang Shijuan back through the entire Hong Kong live broadcast. When Wang Shijuan ran outside, she actually met her ex-husband, Lu Mingwei. Lu Mingwei also fell in love with Wang Shijuan at first sight. Luckily, Zhou Hao caught Wang Shijuan's heart in a very short period of time. After that time, Zhou Hao deliberately found out about Lu Mingwei's background and also knew that he was Lu Wanhong's son. Zhou Hao knew that Lu Mingwei wouldn't let him go just like that, so he was prepared to face Lu Mingwei's attack and launch a deadly counterattack at any time. Lu Mingwei's greatest strength was Lu Wanhong, who was standing behind him. Therefore, Zhou Hao had specially studied Lu Wanhong. I have long heard of Mr. Lu's reputation. He is the #1 sniper in Hong Kong's stock market. I really admire him. He always uses you as his role model. Zhou Hao took the initiative to raise his glass to Lu Wanhong. Lu Wanhong also smiled and said, "You flatter me too much. Snipers in the stock market are just for show. Especially now that Soros and Julian are the real figures of the world. I am not a sniper. But nephew Zhou, you are young and capable. Your future achievements will be limitless." In the conversation with Lu Wanhong, Zhou Hao found that although this person was very friendly with him, as well as the Li family's Jie, there was a sense of pride in his bones. He was a typical cold person with a sharp tongue.